Let's do
Kill the light and
this.
kick back.
Yeah. So, Bullets, it's been a while since I've gotten to torture you with a video. I've been going over my watch later list, since I got fired from Lowe's and all. And I've been catching up on so many of these podcasts and stuff.
Yeah,
And
I
I,
heard about that.
yeah. Can
Yeah,
you
I saw you
believe?
streaming yesterday about it.
Yeah. Well, I finally let the cat out of the bag where I was working, which corporation. But,
Yeah, I think they did you wrong. Definitely.
well, I was surprised it took over 6 months to get somebody to call HR on me. If I would have known just saying out loud, gay black dude, those 3 words would do it, you know how thoroughly disappointed I am that she didn't even bring up crazy bitch and me saying crazy bitch? I'm like, really? That's
Probably would have exposed
mostly.
yourself.
I know, because I wanted her to say the words. Like, I bet it was on her list of things she was going to ask me, but she skipped it. I bet. Oh shit, Tony's here. Hi, Tony. Good to see you. I hope you and your family are doing well. Hello, Zale.
YOLO Tony. YOLO
So,
Zale.
I need to play this video for you because I want you to
Is
see it
this a
firsthand.
is this a Zuby that you sent me? Or I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think I'm too
yeah.
familiar with. Have I met Zuby before? I think I probably
No,
have.
no. I've only shared a few of his things on my channel at various different points, but yeah, this video is like 16 and a half minutes, but I think you'll really
It's about
like
a
it.
month old too.
I know. I'm still catching up on stuff.
You and me
But
both. I'm so far behind.
yeah.
Yo, Smith.
Hello, Smith. This is the new Smith. We have two
Is a
Smiths
new
now.
Smith? We have two. Huh? Okay.
Yep,
Hey, the
this
more the
is the new
merrier.
Smith. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. I see the Matrix. Y'all multiply.
Right. All right, let's get busy on this video because I want to see your reaction to this. Is the red pill wrong about marriage? And I don't know who this woman is that he's talking to, but this is an interesting little conversation.
And this is where, I know in private conversations you mentioned to me that you're interested in, some of the quote, what people call the red pill stuff that's
I
kind of
know
been
we
going
haven't even
on out
gotten
there,
into
right?
that yet.
But
Yeah.
why do you think so many young men and even a lot of young women are afraid of marriage? It's because they saw it fail for their parents. They saw it fail
Well,
for their parents' friends. They
yeah.
saw these big prominent situations where this happened. Oh wow, like that super successful guy got even he couldn't
Yeah.
make it work, and he's done this and he's got that
I
and
was
he's
literally going to say it's like
and
the daddy and the mommy and the
Mhm.
divorce wounds, because we were talking offline about some of these kind of leaders in this red pill or adjacent red pill worlds. And I hear, like Andrew Tate as an example is very public about it. You hear him talking about his childhood and you're like, whoa, it's pretty rough. And the dynamics between like his parents, it just sounds like it's super dysfunctional.
Yeah, but I mean, I know he's framed it in a way that I know it motivates and drives him a lot, but I'm sure
But to what end, right?
yeah, but this is the thing, right? Whether or not someone wants to admit it or consent to them, like there's people who you can very obviously tell how their childhood has affected them as an adult, right? There's people where it's more subtle, and they've gone on and they've been they've been successful and they've healed from certain problems and whatever, but on some level it's still it can't not affect you. How can your parents' relationship and your family dynamics and your child, how can it not affect you? Right? That doesn't even make sense. It can affect you in positive ways and negative ways. Like, most people, it's going to be some type of combination of these things, but it's going to impact how you see the world. It's going to impact how you see relationships. It's going to even impact what you may aspire to. right? Because if you're from a, you know, a big healthy family with lots of intact marriages and what cool, like this is a great dynamic. I want to do the same thing. That's my situation. I'm blessed. But I'm also, my family has become something, a bit of an anomaly, which is a massive shame, right? Like if I tell people about my parents, like one of the most common questions I get is, you know, oh, are your parents still together? And I'm like, isn't it sad that we live in a society where it's almost assumed that your parents are probably not together anymore? Like,
it is such a privilege. My parents are still together too.
Yeah,
and
but
we are privileged, Zuby.
that used to be the norm not
I know,
so long
but
ago.
that's what's sad.
That's what I'm saying
It's
is that's what's sad, right? When I say that, I'm like, people, you know, I'm like, oh no, my parents have been together almost 50 years. People are like, wow, that's amazing. You're so lucky. You're so fortunate. You're so privileged. I'm like, yeah, but should that be the case? Like, isn't that the point of marriage? Like, isn't it meant to be you stay together and stuff like that? So this has a massive impact on the psyche of younger generations. And I think this is a part that is rarely brought into these conversations because, you know, conservative people, especially, obviously, you know, very, very, you know, pro marriage, pro family. They want, you know, oh, why won't these young men just man up and marry women and do this? I'm like, you don't understand. Like, these guys are scared. They are scared of signing a contract with the government, with a woman that there is, especially when you have these no-fault divorce laws, and they've heard all these horror stories.
Because 70% of divorces are initiated by women.
Yes,
I think is the number.
Yeah, the majority. Right?
And that's the whole message, right, of some of the red pill adjacent folks who are saying, you know.
By the way, like 93% of those women have college degrees. Just throw that out there.
You know, don't get married.
Yes.
She's just going to divorce you and take your kids.
Yeah.
And so sleep with different women.
Okay, we're about 3.5 minutes into this, okay? And the way they're starting off is like they're talking about the red pill. No, let me be clear that the red pill means different things to different people. You know, you could see that all the way around the manosphere. Everybody thinks they've got a good bead on the red pill. So much so that they've perverted it into other pills, like the black pill, the white pill, the purple pill, whatever pill you want to follow. They bend the red pill into their own ideology. So what is the
wait, bullets? You
pill?
cut out.
What is, as I've learned
Bullets.
from Terrence Popp in his
Bullets.
video. What?
Bullets. Just listen to the video, all of it, and then let's discuss. We don't need to. I'm going
to lose my train of thought.
But you don't need to preach tonight. Just listen to this with me.
All right,
okay?
I'll listen.
Okay.
I'm going to listen. I'll shut up.
Okay.
Okay.
Just listen how he sets up the message delivery.
But still be successful. So in a way, their hatred of monogamy stems from betrayal.
It's not even. It's not even hatred of monogamy. It's just like, okay, if you were, if you removed the love element, if you remove the love element, right? And this is a contract you're signing, and you know that statistically in your country, 40 to 50% of these contracts fail, and the other party initiates the breakup 70 to 80% of the time. You'll hear these stats a lot in red pill circles. Would you sign that contract? Right.
Well, if it's funny because it's like, did you know that X amount of people die from heart disease? Why don't you just end yourself now? Because you might die. Because it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
No, it's not, because in this you have there's so many alternatives. Right.
Well, the best alternative is like mate selection, because when you shake it out, you look at people that go to church weekly. You look at people that didn't cohabitate before marriage, that didn't sleep around before marriage. High success rate. So
but what percentage of people is that?
It's a small percentage because few people are willing to, few people have that vision. I don't even think it's a self-control thing, because I think people can apply self-control where they choose. I think it's a vision, that this is a vision worth fighting for and applying my self-control to. But the problem is they are not educated. Like most people don't even know that you are more likely to divorce if you cohabitate. Most people do. They think by cohabitating, they're actually staving off.
Test run and, make sure it all
works. That's
works.
Exactly the argument.
Yeah. And you know, from a logical perspective, it sounds right. You know, it sounds like
kind of.
but you think it's not an obvious statistic.
Perhaps, yeah, especially in today's culture.
Yeah, it's not an obvious statistic that if you cohabitate prior, then statistically you know. But I was going to say that vision and that desire, and so much of that. This is my point. So much of that comes from your family.
Yeah,
your family, seeing it, living it. You're one of 8, right?
One of 8
your
kids,
parents.
yep.
How long have your parents been together?
We just celebrated 40 years.
40 years.
As a family, the whole family got together.
Amazing.
All the grandkids, all 8 kids and spouses, and one boyfriend, I think, was there for one unmarried sibling, but all to celebrate. By the way, they slept in separate rooms, like, you know, because it's like we're traditional. It's like, you know, like we're not. But it's you live a certain way, and you see this fruit, like,
and you want to replicate that,
and you now you see the dysfunction. You know, no family is perfect. My family is not perfect. My marriage is not perfect. We're figuring things out, but towards a certain end. So we know we're working to get better together.
So you have to keep in mind that in this country alone, you know, hundreds of millions of people. That's not their experience.
Yeah.
So this is where the sort of red pill stuff comes from.
So what's the real answer?
Right? Wow. I mean, the Christian answer is pick up your Bible and, you know, follow everything in there. It's hard, you know, Lila, I'd love to have a clean answer on this one. I would be lying if I said I have a totally clean answer. I think marriage needs to be. I do think marriage laws need to be changed.
Meaning make it more difficult to divorce for no fault.
The truth is, okay, if you are a young, successful man, or a man who's going to be young and successful, and you do not have a religious or traditional upbringing and outlook in life, the incentive structure for state-sanctioned marriage in the USA and many other countries is poor. The incentive structure, there's not an incentive. So when people are there, you know, yelling at these young men to, hey, just get married, they're like,
who's yelling at them, by the way? Let me not don't get married.
Well, let me not say people are yelling at them. Let's say, okay, the traditional conservative types who are telling these young men, why are you following Andrew Tate? Why are you listening to all these guys? Why are you all with this red pill, whatever? You know, I don't like this.
I'm fine if they don't get married, provided they're not sleeping around with women. Like if you choose celibacy because of some sort of noble purpose.
Yeah, it's not realistic.
Well, it's not realistic to be celibate?
For someone with no religious or traditional inclinations,
no noble cause they're fighting for. Yeah, I see that. They need a purpose.
Yes, exactly. So I think part of the problem is that there's this void here. I think that a lot of the traditional conservative types are not. I think oftentimes are genuinely not even aware of just how much the game has changed in the last few decades, right? Someone who's been,
for men, especially, you're saying men,
like
the disaffected man.
This social culture has, this society has changed, the culture has changed, the norms have changed, the technology has changed, some of the laws have changed, right? We're not living in the same world as our grandparents or our great grandparents. Where actually it was, sure, that also had its own problems, but it was sort of it was cleaner and it was simpler, and it was just like, look, this is what you do. You get to this age, men get married, women get married, cool, like that's. It just functioned. Whereas now we're at this weird point where you've still got the traditional part, and you've got some of the religion and some of the ideals, but you're also in a society and a culture and a legal system which is quite hostile towards that. So many people don't even treat marriage. A lot of people don't even treat marriage seriously, right? Like part of the reason I'm not married yet, because I get people, Zuby, you should be married, like you're, whatever. And I'm like, part of the reason I'm not married is because I take it so seriously. To me, this isn't something like, oh, you know what, let me just marry this girl I like, and if it doesn't work out, like there's people who.
But I think that's a good thing.
I think it's good. But there's people who get married and they're going into it like, well, if it doesn't work out or one of us isn't happy, like we just go. And I'm like, well, what's the point of? To me, I'm also like, well, what's the point of getting married if it's not permanent, right? If the strive is not that, look, this is a lifelong union. Then what's the point? Then it's just extended dating with a lot of potential negative ramifications if it doesn't work out. Financial ramifications, impact on the children, once again, impact on your own well-being and mental health, impact on your career, all these other things. And that's why, again, there are millions of young men, whether or not people like it, I know for a fact, there are millions of young men out there in the West who are terrified of the concept of marriage. And I don't think that there is.
And you think the top reason for that? There's a lot of reasons.
The only people who are addressing this are the red pill people.
Well, you're addressing it.
I am.
We're doing that right now,
Yeah,
in a small way, one little tiny step towards.
I think this is a place where there is massive room for more conservative, especially pro-marriage, pro-family people to speak on this and to offer some genuine solutions, because the incentive structure, as I've just said, it's so broken, and so many, and it's not just on paper. Again, there are millions of people who have been through this grinder and have been spat out the other side.
Well, the grinder is the contraceptive ideology, the divorce ideology, and now the gender ideology. And all three make up what we call the sexual revolution. And postmodern ideologies kind of swimming all together. They're all kind of like bleeding into each other. Feminism. But it is a grinder. I like that. I mean, it's a horrible idea, but it's true. Like, all of these people are victims in a way of the sexual revolution and ideologies that broke their families, that broke their spirits, that distorted their sense of purpose, and really their whole understanding of what it means to be human. And so now there's just like chaos.
Yes, and this has massive impact. So I've mostly spoken from the male angle, but this is also, okay, what are some of the impacts of this on females? Why are there so many young women who, again, we talked about the male fear that a lot of people don't talk about. Men are afraid of, like, oh my gosh, I marry a woman and she leaves me and I lose half my stuff and I lose access to my children and this and that. Like that's the male fear that people are hesitant to discuss, right? So, a lot of the red pill solution is just guys don't get married, right? That's their solution. What is a massive fear that a lot of women have outside of, there's the obvious things that have always existed, like, a man who's abusive or violent or something like that. But a lot of women, again, due to their own parents' dynamics or what they saw growing up around them, they are terrified of relying on a man.
Independence, right? They've been taught to value independence above all else, which is why the abortion ideology is so strong.
Exactly.
Because
these things are all tied together, right? Because perhaps, again, even in their own family, maybe they saw their mom relied on their dad and their dad ended up leaving or becoming a junkie or doing this or doing that, or they saw it happen to their parents' friend. They're seeing it happening in society. And they're like, you know what? I can't put myself in a position where I just fully trust and rely on a man. Maybe ideologically they would like to, right? And they'd like to have that, but they're like, no, I need to go out there. I need to get my degrees. I need to make my money. I need to start my business. I need to do all these things. I need to compete with men very directly. And that also has the downstream consequences. So you have both men and women, especially on the younger end, who are, people don't like the word fear, but they're fearful. They're fearful of one another. The women are fearful of men in a way. The men are fearful of women in a way. And this leads to all of the dysfunction that you're seeing in relationships, because neither party feels like they can truly trust the other sex, right? Women don't feel like they can trust men. Men don't feel like they can trust women. On this end, you've got third and fourth wave feminism. On this end, you've got, the rising sort of red pill and MRA movements, even men going their own way, which is literally men who have just sort of signed off of women, and maybe they'll casually date here and there, but they're absolutely not getting married. They won't even get into a long-term serious relationship. And this is rising. Or you can
go be LGBT, right? That's
like
the third identity today.
Or you completely switch over, right?
No, it's true.
And I can understand and I can empathize with all these different positions, right? If there's a young woman who's grown up in a certain way and she wants to get her money and she wants to run her business and she wants to do this and not have to rely on a man, that's not just coming from, oh, you watch some feminist programming in the media and it's like, no, there's a logical reason why that young woman thinks like that and why she has that I don't need a man, I don't want a man attitude. And there's also a logical reason why you have these young men who are out there like, actually, you know what? I'm just going to be like, live a Playboy lifestyle and I'll have relationships with women, but I won't get in too deep. So I won't get my heart broken. I won't get my, finances. I won't have to take the risk, right? I'm not going to be flipping this coin that I've seen doesn't have a great statistical success rate, even though, again, oftentimes statistics are not contextualized properly. You did this earlier, where actually, if you look in, if you are in certain communities and you do certain things, the divorce rate is not going to be 40 to 50%.
Well,
It's going to be minuscule as
it's
long
all
as you do
about
certain
how
things.
you live and
absolutely.
what's motivating how you live and why you live. And, one of the passions behind this podcast, and I know it's a passion behind everything that you're doing, is to help people see the goodness of who they're meant to be, and to help reharmonize these relationships and help people find the truth. And the good news is, like, when you have one example, that one beautiful marriage that's 50, 60 years strong.
I love that.
And you have, you have the two good parents who are married, who are raising the 5 good children, or the 6 or the 7 good, or even the 1 good child. Maybe you're not blessed with more than that, or you adopt a child, right? Because everyone, has their own thing, but you are already changing the world.
Absolutely.
By that example.
Changing the world in a massive way. Because as I said, children grow up, people become adults, and then those adults go out and they interact with thousands or millions of people. Especially now in the internet age, you interact with more people than ever before. And if you are dysfunctional and you spray that and put it upon all these other people, you go out there and you can cause all sorts of untold and unnoticed damage in the world. And this is where...
True story. Well, what do you think, Bull? It's not too terribly torturous. Did you like his gyno grinder reference?
Yeah, he made some good points. There are a lot that they missed. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I can go into it, but
yeah.
I think you all know. If you've been paying attention in class,
Yeah.
who has the most to gain with the destruction of the modern nuclear family? Can anybody in the chat, anybody in the class tell me who has the most
The
to
radical
gain?
lesbian feminists.
Close. You're close.
Don't say China.
No, who's profiting? Who's profiting? Who profits the most when they destroy a family? When
Feminists.
When a woman files for divorce, who is it that profits the most? Who makes the billions of dollars?
The government, so they can fund the lifestyles of the feminists that work in the government.
That's true. If you've been paying attention in my classroom, you'd understand how the gynocentric landscape works. That those who control the divorce market, the judges and the prosecutors, when your woman takes you to divorce, and they basically turn you upside down and shake you out and treat you like an ATM machine. The judges and the prosecutors and everybody that facilitates the divorce market lines their pockets. A lot of that money that you pay into child support or like alimony and shit through the state, a portion of that goes into the coffers for the judges and prosecutors' retirement pension plans.
Okay, well, we don't need to go into all that. I just wanted you to see that because I thought he did.
Well, the courts have... Well, listen to me. Well, it's just not the courts; it's the government itself. Your state legislature.
I know.
They're lining their pockets and and filling their coffers as well.
I know. They need to be able to...
your families.
They need to be able to pay all these women that have these jobs in government.
You could blame the feminists all you want, but the feminists are communists, and the communists are Marxists, and the Marxists are socialists, and the socialists are Democrats. The Democrats are liberals. It's all a continuous cycle. You know who the enemy is.
Yep.
Call it out for what it is. It's a hostile takeover of our Western civilization. Exactly what it is.
I know. What do you think though about how he set all that up? He pretty much dropped the MGTOW bomb in there.
He's very professional. With the way that he words and everything. It's not as off the cuff or street level like what shit that I do here.
Yeah.
I'm a bit more frank, than this gentleman is, and that could be problematic for a lot of people, when I come at him like Alex Jones, it's just too much for them to take in all at once,
right?
And I can understand that. That's the normie reaction, to a lot of my stuff. I get that in the red pill and MGTOW community from a lot of people. They just don't understand where I'm coming from because they don't understand my lifestyle, my MGTOW lifestyle as it pertains to me.
Yeah. Well, I thought he shed MGTOW in a good light, personally.
He did. He did. He is very subtle, very professional on how he put in there, getting her opinions on it. And this is the other thing, I'm really not too concerned with women's perspective on MGTOW lifestyle philosophy because it's not for women in my perspective.
Rose podcast.
I don't think there's no look. And I've said it before and I'll say it again if I haven't said it 1,000 times already. Nobody's going to win a gender war. Okay? Men and women are both losing here. Nobody's winning.
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody loses. Game over. Pack your shit and leave. We're talking about the destruction of the modern nuclear family, and everybody's thinking like, well, it's women's fault. Oh, and the women are saying, no, it's men's fault. That's a perpetual argument. Don't you think that there's some think tank, New World Order think tank full of psychiatrists and psychologists that haven't planned this out, that know how to propel the propaganda of a gender war? Has anybody ever sat down, like has Ended Chronic or Hammerhand or anybody else in the manosphere ever done the math, of what the New World Order Agenda 21 plan for the destruction of the modern nuclear family is?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna check out her channel. See what she's about. I'm tagging her in this too. So.
Yeah, maybe you can do a panel with her. Have a back and forth.
Maybe.
She's a crazy bitch.
Yeah, we'll see if she's a crazy bitch. I mean, she seems to be stuck in the,
She's a feminist.
In the abortion ideology and this ideology. I wanna listen to some more of her stuff and figure out what feminism is.
Well, she may portray herself as conservative. I've met many women who have. And they all think that they're conservative. But when you challenge their rights in the law, they will quickly expose themselves for the feminists they actually are.
I wonder where she went to college. Questions about relationships.
There's not a woman out there in American society that will give up any of her rights awarded under the 19th Amendment. That's a fact.
Well, I've never exercised any of those rights, so I don't care about them.
You still have access to them, though.
Yeah.
This is the thing. It's kind of like what I said on my one of my previous videos. I was talking about Fresh and Fit, debating the panel of titties and everything. It's like even if you can convince all of those women of your points of view, at the end of the show, you've changed nothing. Those laws are still on the books.
Yeah. Well, they've been kind of changing throughout the U.S. I know no-fault divorce has been on the chopping block. And I think, didn't Florida just pass something about no alimony or something? What did Florida just pass?
I think judges and prosecutors should lose their pensions as well. A large portion of those pensions.
That'd be a good idea.
That's something that I'd like to see. If anything, that money should go to the state, not to those judges or prosecutors' pensions. For their assistance in facilitating this communist ideal of destroying the modern nuclear family. I mean, I remember back in in the 50s or 60s. When a couple would go to divorce court, the judge would say, well, you'd have to go through counseling and try different routes and everything, before you can get a divorce. There's certain procedures that you had to go through. You have to try to make it work. The courts would help a family, and the community want to help a family, work out their differences and stuff. They want them to stay together, But since the late 70s, it's been the total opposite. You can just get married, cash out for all the cash and prizes, and that's it.
Mm.
But it is an interesting interview. Again, Zuby, when he's talking about the red pill, and I wanted to talk about this, 3 minutes in,
Mm.
is that, what does the red pill mean to you? To me, it means, like, I've shown what the gynocentric landscape is. I made several videos about it, talking about the gynocentric landscape. And to me, that, according to what I've learned from guys like Terrence Pop, Sandman, Thinking Ape, and others, Stardust, that's what the gynocentric landscape is: the social, dating, marriage, and divorce markets that constitute the gynocentric landscape. Because in these markets, you have all these laws that are stacked against you, what I call gyno traps or gyno grinders that you could fall into. It's kind of like that guy that we rented a house to this guy, right? Actually it was like an RV space, and he parked his trailer on it and stuff. He had a beautiful wife, very sweet lady. The only problem is she's a drug addict. Well, anyway, she takes off for 6 months with her drug dealer boyfriend, and then she comes back and makes all sweet and shit, with her husband. They got 3 kids, and they all go to 7-Eleven one day for Slurpees and cigarettes. And while he's in the store, she's on the phone with the cops, telling the cops that, he kidnapped her and the kids. Well, like within like 2 or 3 minutes, the cops are there, and they have him on the floor inside the 7-Eleven at gunpoint, slap him in handcuffs, throw him in the cop car, and hand her the keys over to his house and his truck, and give her the kids, and they take him to jail for 30 to 35 days. Well, while he's in jail, she steals his truck, steals his trailer, steals his tools. He had all his tools and everything in this big trailer and stuff, because he did like handyman shit and yard work. He just had a whole shitload of tools and everything. She took everything. Everything was gone. She dumped the kids off at his parents' house. Didn't want anything to do with the kids. And 35 days later, the guy walks up to us, wondering what the fuck happened and to all his shit, and we told him, your wife took everything. She didn't pay any rent or anything. She just picked up all your shit and with the kids and everything and moved. And I watched this man walk down the street, broken and homeless. Now, do any of you guys want to sign up for that? Anybody?
No.
Put a 1 in the chat if you want to sign up for that.
Contriver just brought up something that I was going to address. That's why, Bullets, I put your gyno judicial system video also in the description, because I want this woman to do some fucking homework. And yes, I did catch that Contriver about how she brought up the homosexual thing right after MGTOW. I thought that was kind of really shitty, personally.
Well, no, she's right. She's right. Because there are men that have turned away from gynocentrism. They've turned away from worshiping the golden vagina and actually, have chosen alternative lifestyles.
Wow.
Me and Iridium, we have a gentleman that frequents our channels frequently who has chosen one of those alternative lifestyles.
But
There's
Bullets, she was meaning it demeaning towards men, though.
I know exactly what she
General.
meant.
Yeah.
I know exactly what she meant. She could demean it all she wants, but all she's doing is exacerbating. She's not in. Look, these men are very fucking intelligent. The men that I have met in the MGTOW community that have chosen trans or gay lifestyles, are highly intelligent. They're very educated. They're very smart. They understand what the gynocentric landscape is. They want no part of it. They know the type of emotional terrorists that women can be.
Right.
How they can con their way into your life and destroy everything that you've built.
Yeah.
So, but petty insults, do nothing to us. It's kind of like the way Terrence Pop put it, oh, we don't give a fuck. And we're moving ahead at I don't give a fuck speed. And the men that have chosen alternative lifestyles, they're living their best life as it pertains to them. Who am I to judge? Who is she to judge? To look down her snooty nose, at other men who are just tired of women like her. That's the reason why they've turned, because they're tired of women with attitudes like that.
Yeah.
She is her own worst enemy.
Well, she's a married woman that came from a huge family. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Well,
she.
she's the enemy of other women who can't find a man. You know, if there's a large majority of women out there that are wondering why they're single and they can't find a man, look no further than thoughts like that.
There we go. All right. I left her some homework in the description. It sounded like she was a bit interested in learning more about, you know, some things she might not know about.
I don't.
I left her your gynojudicial video, so she can have a listen to it and learn about all the ways. It's not just the abortion thing and sexual revolution, and it is much, much, much bigger than that.
I've tried, you know, reaching out to try to, like, you know, teach women on this type of stuff, you know, but they're too easily distracted. I mean, it's like, you know, whenever time they come in the community, it's like pointing a laser pointer, you know, to all the cats in the neighborhood and shit, you know, and they just get these women just get swamped. And I'm like Minka. I'm trying to talk to Minka, you know, and I can't talk to Minka with 9 dudes on a panel. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know, we saw what kind of a circus that turned into.
Yeah, but Minka's not your problem, Bullets. Minka is doing something completely not what would be helpful towards what your goal is.
Yeah, I get
I mean, maybe downstream, but I wasn't very happy. There are a lot of
people in the community that helped to make sure that never happened.
No, that has no bearing on it. Bullets, you don't understand. Deep down, she is a feminist.
Well, coming on to it,
Bullets, she values
coming
this.
On to a
Bullets,
panel
please
and calling
listen
her
to me for a
coot
second.
Didn't help.
It wouldn't. She heard worse from the black pill community. Okay, she's not this, you know, whiny little, oh, my feelings, you know. I mean, she'll pretend it every now and then, but she's not. That's not the point. Fundamentally, she is a recovering feminist, and she cares more about her sisters than she does the men. Period. The end. She's so focused on male accountability and sympathy for women. She's not there yet. Because
don't women have enough? They need more?
Plenty. She really wants to help women, but she's not going to help any of them if she will not stop focusing on male accountability and start holding these women accountable instead of being their fucking emotional tampon at 3 a.m. when they call her because they're tired and lonely from pole dancing and whoring around. Like, what? No. Minka's journey is not... I mean, it's very much on the outskirts. Like,
well,
she cares.
I can teach Minka how to help men, but nobody will let me help. You know, teach her how to do that.
She doesn't want to help men. She wants to help women. That's what you're not getting. She wants to help women.
Well, that's what I meant. I mean, I could teach her how to help women, but nobody will let me do that.
No, you can't. You can't. All she needs to do is hold women accountable.
Let me tell you.
And she won't.
Hold on. Let me tell you how you can help men or help women help men. Okay? Because that's basically what women want, right? Women want help to be able to understand men better, right?
Which women?
To help nurture those types of relationships, right? Between men and women, right?
Which women?
What do women know of the plight of men?
Not much.
Thank you. Let's start with a simple subject. Let's talk about the male suicide rate. Let me mentor you a little bit. Like, say you're Minka, and I'm going to mentor you.
Yeah, initiate me. I'm
How often do you discuss the male suicide rate with other females?
I think Minka's answer would be not very often because I'm too busy listening to them cry about how much money they made because they took their clothes off. Because they're lonely. It makes them
Then
lonely.
the male suicide rate isn't important to them.
Right.
Therefore, men are not important to them.
Yeah.
They're narcissistic in nature.
Yes.
They're a waste of time. And they're destined to be lonely.
Yes. And they deserve it. That's why I have zero sympathy or empathy for any of these crazy bitches. Like, I could give two fucks about their feelings, but I think somebody has to. I mean, if we go my route, like, they would all be round up and fucking re-educated properly in confinement. Like, these crazy bitches would not be allowed to roam the streets the way they do. But because we have so much free...
sanitarium. You know,
well,
we live in a clown world.
I know. So if she's going to help them, you know, somebody has to, because I don't give a shit about them.
The reason why we are MGTOW is because women have turned away from us.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the way Zuby was talking about how, you know, in the gender war and the difference between, you know, why men, you know, don't want to get married to women. It's not. There's more to it than that. Than what they're talking. He's glossing over the surface.
I know.
But what we're talking about here are morals, values, you know, spiritualism. Women have turned away from God. You know, who wants to marry a godless thought? You know, a woman with no morals, no virtues, nothing to offer of substance. You know, men do not look at women as a commodity in the sense that, you know, as women look at men as a commodity. Women look at us at the resources we can provide them. You know, protection, food, roof over their head, and so forth. Men, we don't worry about that. We can provide it for ourselves. We can provide all that material shit for ourselves. We don't need women to provide any of that for us. So what do men need? Men need a helpmate. You know, they need a nurturer. They need somebody to, you know, just to be there. You don't have to even say anything. Sometimes it's better if you just don't. Just sit there, look pretty, smile.
Right?
You know, make a sandwich. You don't have to do anything. Don't fucking try to change us. We are who we are. You know, if you want to build us up as men, let us build ourselves up. All you have to do is be there for, you know, as a cheerleader. Just cheer us on. That's it. It's not fucking rocket surgery. You know, but women make it more complex than that. You know, have you ever seen the list of demands that women require, you know, men to live up to in order to... This is the feminine status quo that I talk about. You know, that's what I called the gyno-judicial system, you know, before I turned it into the gyno-judicial system video series. You know, but women have set this bar for men, this impossible bar that it's damn near impossible, you know, to get over. And even when you do, you risk losing everything.
Yeah.
There's just so much that, you know, you really can't just sit down on a panel and in like 30 minutes to an hour figure this all out. I've been doing this now for almost 7 years.
Yeah.
You know, 8 years or so, you know, since 2015. Since I started deep diving into MGTOW philosophy and stuff. And it's taken me a long time to figure it out. Looking back on my own, when I was blue pill, when I was living in the blue pill mindset, believing the traditional conservative lie, you know, that you graduate high school, go to college or military or whatever, or in trades, you know, and you find somebody, you meet somebody, you get married, you settle down, you have a family. But it never worked like that because the laws, and whenever I tried to establish something like that, the laws were stacked against me. You know, and the end result is my being falsely accused of domestic violence twice in my life. You know, the majority of the relationships that I've had, you know, wound up, you know, just ending badly. It's kind of like the system was stacked against you to be able to make it in the world to establish a mononuclear family. Back in the 50s, after World War II, you know, a high school graduate can go off into the trades and get a job, and make enough money to support a family of four on one paycheck. Now, both parents have to work if they're still together and hold anywhere between 2 to 3 jobs each, just in order to make it. So something's wrong. The modern nuclear family has been destroyed to the point to where it's being fleeced to death. You know, by government intervention, and the government's been setting us up, for this failure. You know, this has been going on for a long time. It's been happening incrementally. Like a frog. Being slowly boiled. Well, we're boiling right now.
Yeah.
The water's fucking boiling over and shit. So that's kind of like where we are in society right now. We're headed towards collapse. The great re cometh. I shit you not. We're already seeing bank collapses.
Yeah.
I could go on and on and on.
I know. Contriver's backstage. What are you doing, Contriver?
Come on up, Contriver. What's up, brother?
What's happening?
Namaste, my friend.
Yeah. Did you see the little short stream I did earlier? The best thing ever. Did you see those native patriarchs in Nevada sort out those feminists?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
I've been so out of it. I've been like, for those of you who don't know, I got a lot going on in my personal life.
Yeah.
I had a family emergency happen about a month ago, and it's just compounded.
Yeah.
And it's like, my workload in my real life is just taking me offline for a little bit until I can catch up with everything. So that's that. Hopefully in a couple of weeks I should have everything hammered out.
Well, long story short, the Extinction Rebellion feminists were blocking a state highway and line for miles. And the res cops fucking plowed through their barricade and arrested a non-compliant feminist because she wouldn't sit down right now and she was resisting arrest. So like he came out gun pointed, like, get down now, and everybody else listened besides her. She went to like sit down and then she stood back up and he grabbed her and put her on the ground. It was great.
In the state of Texas, we can run you over now.
Yeah.
We'll just, if you, especially if they approach your vehicle, I mean, if you, it's called, being illegally detained. When people block traffic like that, they're basically detaining you, and it could be construed as felony kidnapping as well. In the state of Texas, if you approach a vehicle, they can run your ass over. We can legally run your ass over now. They just passed that law not too long ago.
Good. That sounds amazing.
There was an incident not too long ago. I think it was about a month ago. This guy, he was convicted of shooting a guy that pointed an AR-15 style rifle at him during the 2020 riots here in Austin. And I think Governor Abbott quickly moved to pardon him. Because they knew it was a sham trial. But you could read about that in the news. There's plenty of articles about it, especially in videos online that talk about it. But it's
was it that Kenosha kid, Kyle Rittenhouse?
No, it was a different gentleman.
Hello, Contriver.
So
I can't remember his name.
Hello, Ma.
What's happening?
I had to come out of retirement. I mean, this is the issue. So the thing is, in psychological terms, what was happening in her brain at that point in time when Zuby mentioned that men are moving away from us. So in her simplistic brain, she was thinking that no way they wouldn't deny a vagina. So that is why they might be closet homosexual. I mean, terming them as some sort of homoerotic and doing some sort of character assassination via simple lip service. No. What I think, this is just my surmise. I could be wrong. I could stand corrected right now. But the thing is that that privileged behavior, that
Mm.
privileged thinking of that woman, that no way men can't deny a woman, or men can't turn down a woman, and their offer for a little bit of intimacy and physical proximity is what she had in her mind. And by the way, note it down, guys. The way she reacted to men saying that we are moving away from the, shall we say, the aspects of traditional gender roles and everything, she said, "Oh, so they must be moving into homosexuality."
No,
It
no, no, no,
was,
no.
yeah, yeah,
Contriver, did you see the whole thing? Because
yes,
she
I
did
have
bring
seen the
up
whole
the
video.
fact. Okay, she did bring up the fact, like, oh, men can, just be celibate instead of, spinning plates or whatever. Which, like, if she ever like paid attention to like the MGTOW space where the monks reside, those men preach daily about controlling your biology. But I think it seemed more like kind of a dig towards LGBTQ stuff, because that's the typical feminist thing is blame, kind of blame shift. They like to hide behind the gay shield. Like it's
Yes,
weird. I
yes,
don't think she was. I mean, it seems like kind of a double slam. It's like
yeah,
a little
yes,
poke and then a hide behind the gay thing.
yes. I mean, cloak and dagger thing. I
Yeah,
understand that, but
yeah.
what I thought was, I mean, she could have said that perhaps I might have forgotten that she was talking about spinning plates and all that. But
Well, she didn't say
she,
that, but
okay,
she
okay,
was
fine.
talking about the players that still sleep with women but don't want to get married. Like she doesn't get
Why
that.
would they?
And
Why? Yeah, and controlling biology thing as well. But my point is something else. The thing is, if she indulges in the very same aspect of shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right, which is called as sign language. Now,
hmm
some people might say and might have heard that from Reverend late Mr. Kevin Samuels. It was us, MGTOW, and Bullets knows this, from MGTOW.com, a website that was banned after ADL and SPLC labeling us as domestic terrorists. This was a website where we came up with all these epithets, and that is where I also met some of the gentlemen like MGTOW Dictionary at that time. It is completely apples and bananas now. So we are the ones who came up with all these terminologies and idioms, what the gyno-judicial landscape is, which was used in the MGTOW dictionary app at that time, and it was available on Google Play Store, because
hmm
at that time I was in India and I downloaded that.
yes.
So these are our intellectual property things which have been plagiarized, but we have to also understand that whether it is a conservative or a progressive, regressive, whatever, they all ideologically are on the very same side of saving the vaginas, saving the eggs, saving the women, because sperm is cheap and eggs are expensive.
Yes.
Men are human doings, women are human beings. So we can't move away from that. Whether you are a rainbow flag hoisting blue haired feminazi, or whether you are a trad thought like this woman.
Yeah.
And what we have to understand and we have to realize is they all are on the same side. I was watching a video earlier of Araco TV,
hmm
just for uh, giggles. And I was watching, so this was a short video where the she's on the first date, the girl actually demanded to see the bank statements of the prospective suitors. So the interviewer asked her, "I am all about the intent. So why did you ask that?" "Because I'm making more money than him, or I'm strong and independent on my own." So then I realized something. I had an epiphany right before this live stream started of ours. And I realized It's all about sex for resources.
Yeah,
And men are
right?
indoctrinated, and the travesty is, it is my mother's sleeping time, so I would lay low. But
Yeah.
before going, I would, and the travesty is that these very conservatives who teach us in the aspect of God, country, family, Bible thumping, and all these antics of traditionalism and romanticism are the ones who actually destroy the red pill thinking of a man and indoctrinate them to be a servant of this gyno judicial landscape and gynocentric society. It is not the left which is doing that, it is the right which does that. And
Hmm.
that is highly unfortunate. So I
Yeah.
would be coming back. I would just mute a mic. I would be coming back.
Okay. Thanks, Contriver. Yeah, the working man, formerly known as Red Ranger. I like the working man better.
Yeah, I saw your video with the working man, and I like his mentorship on work ethics. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. That's some positive stuff right there. That young men need to hear. They need, you know, people to help guide them, especially into the workforce, you know, and to steer them away, from the temptations of the gynocentric landscape and focus on more positive goals in life than this imaginary delusion that they're going to meet some whammon and their life's going to turn into some fucking fairy tale. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Men, especially the young men, need to wake up to that fact, you know, and focus on building themselves up, building their own self-esteem up, their own confidence up, and how do they do that? They do that through building up values, morals, virtues. This is what we talk, me, Ridium, Contriver, and others talk about over on our channels. You know, th- that's more important than chasing women. You know, let the simps do that. Let the simps waste their time. Let the women destroy the weaker men because they will. They will. That's what they do. Meanwhile, you're building yourself up. Look forward to your future in your 30s and 40s, or even your 50s before even consider, thinking of a long-term relationship with a
But
whammon.
bullets,
You
that
know.
is the thing. They don't want us to think about
Mm-hmm.
our own survival. We are mere sacrificial pawns who have to, quote unquote, sacrifice for the greater good of the society. A society that
Mm-hmm. I
hates
agree with
us,
you.
isn't it? So our
Mm-hmm.
survival does not matter as long as we are available as as a disposable sanitary pad for this society.
I know a young man. He's just hit 30 years old. He's got four exes and 11 kids, and he's burdened by the state of Texas paying child support. For the
Whoa.
rest for quite some time. His life is over. He'll never be able to build himself up financially because he's so heavily taxed. By the gyno judicial system, by the gyno judicial courts. You know, family court, divorce court. I mean, whenever he gets letters in the mail all the time. He gets like 6 or 7 from the Texas State Attorney General. You know, saying how much they're going to each one of those letters saying how much he's going to lose out of his check. Which is probably over $1,000. You know, and he doesn't have any
thousand
money left
dollars
over to yeah, he doesn't have enough money left over.
For 11
To
kids?
something like that.
It
Yeah,
would be one
but
thousand dollars per kid.
I don't know the exact amount. I'm
No,
I'm
not
I'm
that
just
much.
throwing a random amount
Yeah.
out there. But
It
I do
depends
know
on your
this.
income, actually.
I do know this.
Yeah.
He's on the couch circuit. He can't afford transportation. You
Yeah.
know, he has to sleep over at friend's house. He's basically homeless. He'll never be able to build himself up successfully. He did
How did he
everything
get
fast
11 kids?
backwards. I have no
That's
idea.
that's a lot of kids.
He's what I call a donk. He looks like a Chad, but he's he looks like a Chad, but he's a donk. You know, he's dumb.
Right, Derek?
He thinks with his dick. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's bang. And women just fall for it. This fall for him and shit, and he knocks them up. And when they figure out this dude's a loser, they kick him in the curb and they take him to the and shove him to the Ghana judicial system,
See,
and
those
try
are
to get some
dumb
money out of
women.
him.
Right?
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
women are
I
just
don't know whether.
it's Idiocracy. If you ever seen the movie Idiocracy, that's it.
Yeah, sounds like they're made for each other.
Mm, yeah.
Yes, but
All of them.
yes, but my point is, and the working man elucidated that earlier in his saying that funny thing is those right wingers are now too learning the hard way and getting divorced to contriver. But working man, respectfully, sir, I have to politely disagree with you on this one because they are getting divorced. That is true, but they are not learning, and they are perpetually permeating the very same facade which they have been doing in the name of god, country, family. They don't want men to raise themselves from the bootstraps and stand for their own mere survival, because a man is just another cog in the machine, another shall we say, another ball bearing, or another uh, you know another cog in the creaking old machinery that is called a state. Godmother, could you open the Discord and in the server of Bullets where my channel is located? Because I mentioned very same thing in an email to someone called Chris Williamson,
Mhm.
and after 6 hours, which is London time, London is Greenwich time is 6 hours behind us, Indian Standard Time. He mentioned he brought out a video about men's rights, because
Mhm.
I mentioned as to him, and please, if you could, so that people might see as to what my email did and what led to him actually, making a video about men's rights. And after that, what happened, Bullets, was because I mentioned Stardust Thinking Apes channel. What happened was Thinking Ape made a video about his commentary on men's rights. So that is something very important. If good mother would be kind enough to show us,
What
and
do you What do you want me to show?
in the
In
in
bullets?
our in Bullets Contrivers Archives channel is there. There are
Okay.
two channels, which is the general one. You don't have to go into the general one. Go
Okay.
in the go in my archives channel, and I have posted some screenshots of the email that I sent to him. And first of all, I want to share with the people which I could not 1 month ago. So this was the success of my rabble rousing on my teeny tiny little scale and my email ID. And I want Bullets to review that as well, because I want some Americans, unfortunately, alongside my brother from another mother, Emmanuel, who would correct me in my English vocabulary if I am,
Are you talking about the
dilly
one by
dallying
Chandra
along the way.
Sakar?
Pardon, sir?
Are you talking about the one by Chandra Sakar F?
No,
Sure.
I see the email.
Yes.
By the way,
So,
hello, Emmanuel. I had to say hi to
I'm
Emmanuel.
not seeing it.
yes.
Emmanuel, if you would like to join the panel, because I'm glad you haven't been genocided yet. If you have any
As for
input
James,
from South Africa,
hey James, people got to be allowed to make their own mistakes. I'm very clear on that. Very clear that I don't expect young men just to come into the MGTOW community and assume a MGTOW lifestyle, or a bachelor for life lifestyle. I mean, they have to be allowed to make their own mistakes, you know, and I'm just here to laugh at them when they do. It's funny to me, So it's tragic, but it's hilarious too, in the same process. But people have to be allowed to make their own mistakes. Me, Contriver, and Iridium, and others have spoken in depth on that.
After 30, what happens is around 32 or 33 or 34, we we start moving like, I mean, that happens for everyone, not just men or women. But uh, congratulations on turning 30, Emmanuel, my brother, and my Hefe, you turned 32 on Wednesday.
Hmm.
So tomorrow, so happy birthday, many, many happy returns of the day in advance from my side. I might not be there, but in spirit, I would be there. What happens is we become like, this has become like second nature, and we are not proud of it.
Well, you're ahead of the game, James. Congrats. You made it to the Shawshank Redemption and clean on the other side. You only got like 10 more years to go.
Mother, could you show the screen?
You
Okay.
want me to share this email publicly?
Yes, I want to. This is my community. This is my working man's hostel. I want to
Okay.
share with us what I wrote.
Okay. I don't know how to make it
Let me tell
big.
you something. Working man,
You
he
just have to
says,
share the screen.
about
That's it.
about the conservatives trying to trying to get you back onto the plantation. It's a trick. It's a trick for normies. It's a trick for stupid people. Those 180 plus laws on the books that circumvent the Constitution of the United States are still on the books. They're not going anywhere. No fault
Uh,
divorce is still in place.
yes. So this is the email which I wrote to Chris Williamson,
Hmm?
and notice this. This is
Used to
his
be modern wisdom until he
modern
finds.
wisdom.
As I s-
Yeah.
Yeah.
as I
Yes.
said
And
before.
please,
Hmm.
please, Bullets, continue, and then I will share the words.
I'll let you go here in just a second, man. Let me just reiterate this
I'm
really
gonna get
quick.
some tea.
I've said this
Okay.
before, and I'll say it again. I've said it on my videos. You've heard it on my channel. You've heard me say this on my channel. Both the left and the right were on board, to pass these laws to destroy the modern nuclear family. Both of them are responsible. You know, don't
Yes.
forget that. So
Yes.
don't let the political spectrum dupe you into signing a marriage contract, because the laws are still stacked against you. Hold your ground. If at any time you should hold your ground, it's now. Do not cave in. And the
So,
churches were stacked against you as well. No, not one church ever shamed its female congregation for um, uh, for the destruction of the modern nuclear family, or the abortions that have happened. None of them have done that. Have publicly shamed their female congregations. They were on board with the feminists to destroy the modern nuclear family. They were on board with Roe v. Wade. The churches took the tax dollars, you know, to destroy the modern nuclear family, to destroy men. Don't be duped by the institutions that facilitated the destruction of the modern nuclear family.
Bullets, do you remember me saying that women are the biggest mass genociders in the human history? And why
Hmm.
do
And the
I say
and the
so?
cucks that support them, yes.
And why do I say so? Because if global ban on abortion would had been there, women would not had been able to kill 1 billion people from humanity, at least from the Western
Hmm.
Hemisphere. the Anglo-Saxon world. So 1 billion Europeans have been slaughtered by their own mothers.
Two
That is
billion
how much
worldwide.
caring. Yes, 2
Over
billion
over
worldwide,
two
but
billion worldwide.
yes, according to United Nations data.
Hmm.
But I'm saying that 1 billion Europeans, and here I'm not of a European origin, someone. You people have seen me, I have brown skin, I am an Indian. I don't give a damn if they die or they don't. But the point to be noted is that 1 billion people of humanity, both men and women, have been killed by their own mothers.
Hmm.
That is how much of nurturing and caring a woman is. So, all this halo around a woman and the hubris is actually a facade that they want to preserve something, they want to conserve something. Women can't conserve anything as long as there is not a patriarchy to support that. Anyways, let us read the email which I wrote to Chris Williamson. And yes, I want to share this with the people so that people would be able to know what I wrote it to him. So
When you
here
Let's
get the
see
is,
if I can
floor,
make it
go
bigger.
for it.
yes, sir.
See if I can make it
Yes,
bigger. Oop.
no, I can read it. I can read it. There are actually mobile screenshots as well available, but let us just go with this one. No, don't do that. I mean, you would not be able to do that. Let me
Yeah.
read it one by one.
Okay.
Dear sir, I understand your zeal to protect the said civilization, quote unquote, you want to live in, but I am quite astounded by the fact that you behaved in one of your videos quite identical to what feminism espouses. As mentioned earlier, your video wide this uh, has actually made me rethink about your own holier than thou approach, where you try to befriend your guest on your podcast and try to attain knowledge from the other people's life experiences, like Mr. David Goggins and Mr. Adam Lane Smith, among others whom you invite. I am taken aback by your double standards and hypocrisy, which you enunciated in the aforementioned video, and telling the 19-year olds to man up. It all comes down to getting lectured by the hypocritical society in the end. For a man, I suppose. You want men to man up for what? Get destroyed in the family courts and lose whatever little or more what they have accumulated or inherited over a period of time through sheer hard work or happenstance? Could you move the page, good mother?
Mm.
This is a long email I wrote to him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then paragraph change. What is the remedial action that you propose to a chap who is constantly emasculated and castrated both physiologically and psychologically by a man-hating gynocentric society? What is in it for a 19-year-old chap, apart from being castigated and a book thrown at him in a court of equity called family court out of expediency of an ex? Or perhaps you might be elated to know when he dies a miserable death by suicide and becomes just another statistic, another cog in the wheel, another cannon fodder, another sperm donor who has to sacrifice himself for the quote unquote greater good of the society, as Dr. Jordan Peterson says every once in a while. What you, alongside many others, indulge in these sophistries and indoctrination of others are actually half truths. Yes, in an ideological situation, men fight, kill, and die protecting and providing for their loved ones, their children, and their women, and their landmass which they loved. But what you people never reveal out of sheer connivance on your part is that women, children, land over whom they have authority. Authority and responsibility go hand in hand. One can't have all the responsibility without any authority at all. Page change, good mother.
That That would be
Yeah.
slavery.
Yes, it is a dysfunctional society we live in. Just look around yourself after putting off your colored glasses of being the only man alive. When APA, American Psychological Association, issues a sermon stating that traditional masculinity is toxic, I don't see you even reporting the matter on your YouTube channel or any other digital platform. When adultery, homosexuality, same-sex marriage is decriminalized and marital rape is criminalized in the name of protecting women and children from a wild monster, otherwise called a man, a father, a son, a brother, I never see any of you or any of your yes men actually utter a single word against it. All of you quislings pally up to the digital platforms for building your own cults while ragging the man underneath who built your audience base anyways. That is what you did in the aforementioned video as well. Let us see how you prove your own metal. Let us see how you prove your metal, not your own metal. When an individual like you, sir, would be pitted against the state itself, and all the draconian laws would bleed you to death. To death. I presume you wouldn't want that sort of violation of yours in broad daylight. Actually, I wanted to write rape, but I had to be a little bit civil, so I wrote violation. I presume you wouldn't
Yeah,
want that.
wait, wait. Contriver, you can't be canceled just from an email. Come on now.
I mean, I look. I was experimenting with my English prowess.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
being
yeah.
the third language,
Mm,
it is somewhat up till now. I would ask the review afterwards of the overall English vocabulary which I used.
mm.
So I wrote that I presume you wouldn't want that sort of violation of yours in broad daylight, but certainly you want every other chap to go through that. You want a solution to ameliorate the sad state of affairs, fix the draconian legal justice system of the English common law, which is based on the logic that a man has to be always presumed guilty unless proven otherwise. Good mother, please pay change.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Even after Magna Carta, barons and sovereigns were given additional rights and authorities to work more efficiently. Could we expect you to rise to the occasion and address the elephant in the room, which is the draconian laws against a man in general? If you can't, then perhaps it would be rather more convenient for incorrigible delinquents and quislings like you to actually attack men and MGTOW philosophy in general. But for criticizing it factually, one needs to know the history of historicism behind it. I'm enclosing a link. Then I gave the nomam blogspot.com about the history as to how MGTOW philosophy came into existence, the very same which Bullets gave me, to give you the gist of what transpired back then and how this philosophy came into existence. Good mother, please page change.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, where it is, where have I left? Castigating, yes, castigating a man in a capricious manner just to shame that lad into submission is what feminism and tradcons have done till date.
Mm.
We as men are now declaring our self sovereignty, our self sustenance, our own very self survival to be of prime importance. You could tilt at the windmills and insult and shame men and boys till your heart's content. But marriage and cohabitation, as you might have known from your childhood, the reminiscence of the past, it is all gone now, and mark my words, it shall never come back, much to your dismay, by the way. As a devout audience of yours, who listened to you for 6 years, as was recommended to us simpletons by another MGTOW gentleman named Thinking Ape, aka Stardusk, and then I gave his YouTube channel link. I think it shall be better that I would take my leave, since you are clearly not in favor of and sustenance of men and boys. Dare I mention you never were to begin with. You built your own platform while posing as a seeker of wisdom about men's issues, while you never wanted men to be free from this gynocentric slave plantation in the first instance. I wouldn't thank you, but surely would give you an open dare to actually raise your voice against the draconian laws against men in general. Let us see how you, sir, of all people, stand the test of time, and how you deal with it when the state comes against you with their draconian laws. We have seen false bravado of many men before and after the treatment by the state facilities. Good mother, please pay change. I wouldn't thank you, but surely would give you an open dare to actually raise your voice against the draconian laws against men in general. Let us see how you, sir. Okay, false
Yeah.
bravado, that also is done. Let us see if you would have the courage to speak the truth for the first time in your life, against the laws, against a man. Thanking you, yours truly, unwounded contriver. So, this was my total message, and what happened is, what it elicited was, it elicited a response from Chris Williamson, and the video link, which is over these very emails, that video with Instagram men's rights activist who is a lefty, by the way. Despite being a leftist, he is a activist for men's rights named George the Tin Man. He made a collaboration with that and dropped the video within 5 hours. In the
Hmm.
wake of which, Stardust dropped a video because he might have emailed Stardust that, look what one of your followers or what one of your supporters has said to me. Stardust dropped a video over his commentary, and what
Hmm.
transpired? Yes, let me give you the link of the video itself because it is fairly new and within 2 or 3 days it dropped.
Wait a minute,
So,
Stardust dropped a video on this?
yes, yes, you are always like police. When everything is settled, like Indian police when
I
it
know,
takes
dude.
their own sweet time.
I- I'm so far behind. I just can't. It's hard for me to keep up with everything on here because I
I
got so
know,
much going
boss.
on,
I know.
in real life right now.
Yeah.
Kush has been taking
And
up a
that
lot
is
of my
what we
slack.
come on, I was just joking. You know that
Hmm.
I don't mean that. I really don't mean that. So here is the link of the video in the private chat, good mother.
Hey, you and me are in the same type of situation, Contrevor. I know you understand.
This is the video which
Totally.
Stardust made, and surely I know that uh, he might have mentioned it to Stardust that, look what one of your supporters or
Last 2 years.
what one of your yes men has said to me. And this is the video.
You want me to
Oh
play
yeah, I
it?
never got to see this.
Yes, yes. It is
I
only
haven't
10
seen it
minutes
yet.
long.
Okay.
It is only 10 minutes long.
Yeah, if you're not sub to Stardust, definitely sub to this dude.
OG
It's kind
MGTOW.
of interesting, and I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but in recent years, very recent years, as in the last 2 years, there has been a wellspring of a type of interest in the plight, if you will, of men and boys. People talk about it a lot more than they used to. 10, 12 years ago, when a lot of us, myself included, Barbarossa, were talking about this a lot, mum was the word, and there was basically no discussion in the mainstream. Now you will get a number of personages talking about these things, every now and then. Chad Williams, one of them. And you get certain authors like this guy, Richard Reeves, who wrote this book of Boys and Men. And recently, Chad Williamson got a guy on called George the Tin Men with the title, Why Do the Left Not Care About Men's Problems? Indeed. So there's been this upsurge of seeming, quote unquote, interest in the plight and
Pause.
affairs of men and boys.
Just for a second.
But the real question, as I always
Chad Williamson, because Chris Williamson is his real name. He is a bodybuilder, and that is why he is being called as Chad Williamson. But I'm sure Chad Williamson must have contacted this man, our guy, and said that, you know what your people are saying to me, and for the fear of losing subscribers and followers, he made a video about that, on which Stardust made a video, and he is discussing the very same thing, because all of this transpired within a matter of 72 hours.
Hmm.
And India, it is called as someone rocking your boat. So I
Yeah,
rocked
yeah,
the
yeah.
boat of both Chris Williamson, honcho, and our honcho, which is Stardust. So it elicited a response from them. So I'm
Good.
quite happy with what I did.
Good.
Play.
like to ask is, does it really matter? A lot of information that used to be commonplace in the manosphere that has been talked about for a very long time, the empathy gap. All this ultimately stems from the empathy gap, as you're well aware. This was very well documented, as I said, by others. Barbarossa, way back in the day, was probably the first person online to regularly talk about it in a powerful and convincing manner. And over the years, I've tried to make my contributions to that too. But if you look at the quote unquote men's move of the past, MRAs, this sort of thing, almost all of them were regarded as freaks, and almost all the rhetoric fell on deaf ears. Well, fair enough, different era, different time. Can't really blame people for that. And these new guys aren't really MRAs, men's rights activists, but they're trying to make the case for men and boys, especially a guy like Richard Reeves of Boys and Men. He wrote this book. He's appeared on other podcasts. He's been online. He's been in the news. But I don't think anything's going to change. I hate to be the Debbie Downer, the negative Nancy. But to quote Phil Collins, this is the world we live in, and these are the hands we're given. You notice with all these guys, with their so-called advocacy for men and boys, they preface everything they say with women are really important. We can't forget about women. We're not trying to diss women. We're not trying to dismiss women. We're not trying to make women lose anything. I don't view it as a zero-sum game. If men win and women lose. So a lot of caveats, a lot of pretexts, a lot of this and that. And I don't blame them. They kind of have to say that sort of thing, especially if they're operating in the mainstream. Fundamentally, these people don't understand something. No one has ever really cared about men. That is the lot of being a man. All this ultimately, if you want to be very reductionistic about it, goes back to the simple equation of sperm are cheap and eggs are expensive. Women are a more valuable reproductive asset for the continuation of a species than are men. You know, the famous scenario of you have a village where 99% of the women get wiped out and most of the men are around. Well, the village is kind of screwed. However, if 99% of the men get wiped out, but most of the women are around, well, that guy's going to be pretty happy, to say the least. Although he might be stressed out as well. Yes, he would be stressed out. And so civilization is an outcropping of that. Civilization is a derivation of that. We look out for the welfare of women. We care more about women. That's all derivative of all of that. The infamous or famous axiom of women and children first when the Titanic is sinking. I could go on, but you obviously know what I'm talking about.
Gynocentrism.
So that
Yeah,
is
get out
just
the door,
the state of
bitch.
affairs. Now, the reason why in earlier times, say the earlier mid-20th century, people still nominally, ostensibly, cared about the needs, wants, desires of men was because of the perception that their labor was an absolute necessity, which is still the case to this day, mind you, but is very much out in the open. If you want civilization to keep on chugging along, you needed men, and therefore you couldn't neglect men. You had to support them in their endeavors. You had to make sure that they didn't fall by the wayside, because every man who did fall by the wayside would not be able to contribute. So even 70, 60 years ago, the seeming concern for men was not really concern so much as a pragmatic recognition that, yeah, we need these guys and therefore we can't really neglect them. These days, through the mechanization effect, through technology, we've come to live in a world that's veiled. We don't see the intricate workings of what's going on anymore. So we don't see the telephone pole workers anymore. We don't see the sewage treatment plant workers. And as concerns the visible men out there, like garbage men, et cetera, we just take them for granted. It's very easy in today's world to cover all the important contributions of men up. It was much harder in a former time. So sure, as I've already stated, that did not come from a concern for men. That came from a concern for the practical necessity of supporting a population that needs to do certain things to keep civilization chugging along, to maintain the modern world as we know it. Now, as everything has become veiled and we just don't know what's going on and people don't pay attention to the nitty-gritty details, the cogs, as it were, and men are absolutely required to maintain these cogs, as I've stated here and in many, many videos, it's almost impossible for many people, especially women, to conceive the idea that men are necessary. That to neglect men, and especially boys as they're growing up, is to, in part, create a generation of ne'er-do-wells, potentially, however you want to define ne'er-do-well here. Because ultimately, that's all that people really care about when it comes to men. Be useful. Do something productive. No one is ever going to care about men. It's just not the reality we inhabit. These big shots out there, whether they're podcasters, multimillionaires, whatever, yeah, they're in the spotlight because they're important because they did stuff. Remember what they say. Men are human doings and women are human beings. It's always been that way and always will be that way. If you're really lucky, you might have a family that cares about you. And because you're genetically related to them as a man, they will give a damn about you. Maybe. And if you're even luckier, you might have a friend group of males that view you in the sense of brotherhood and actually care about your well-being and look out for you. That's also possible. But the greater world out there, forget about it. Women, forget about it. Women will look at you in the sense of you're attractive and useful, so there you go. They'll pair up with you. Your underlying humanity, broadly speaking, will not be acknowledged. And I challenge anyone to contest that view. People would accuse me in this case of making generalizations and painting a picture with too broad a brush. Sorry, though, look at the world that we exist in. Does it look like people, women, or otherwise care about men's well-being? No. Men need to fix themselves, they need to get their act in order, blah, blah, blah. Women suffer, we need to help women. That's how it is. Unless you change human beings at the genetic level, and therefore at the level of psychology, level of the brain, any attempt to help men en masse is always going to fail. Men are en masse invisible. Men as individuals are invisible unless they're doing something important. And the second they stop doing something important, they're invisible again. How are you going to get people to care about that? Absolutely impossible. Now, given all of this, I thought it would be fitting to end the video with some wise words from the late, great Barbarossa. By late, great, I mean he hasn't been on YouTube for a very long time and he retired. But nonetheless, some of his videos from the past are prescient. And I think this snippet from this old school video of his is very telling and very on point.
It's the cold hard reality that men need to face and address. You will find no solace in the bosom of a woman, I assure you. No, you see, it's time for men to stand up and look around them and see that it is a very cold place and you're the only one that can pull yourself out of that frigid abyss. You. There is no mommy coming to save you, men. There's no mommy to make you feel safe. And as a matter of fact, women despise men that show any weakness because they want to be taken care of. That's right. They despise you for wanting the same things that they demand from men. Security, protection, reassurance, etc. These things a man must earn by overcoming insecurity and danger in order to earn self-assurance, which women apparently respond to. So that still just boils down to one fundamental truth in regards to this society. Men, you are alone in the eyes of this society, and the only ones that will be rewarded are the ones that perform and perform well according to society's standards. If you think for a second that in this society your inherent personhood as a man matters, you are sorely mistaken. This society just does not care. And there exists a very real power in knowing exactly where one stands as a man, no matter how desolate and isolated the situation is.
And beyond that, everyone, thank you for tuning in. As always, special thanks to my patrons. You guys are the best, as well as all donors on PayPal. You keep the channel going. Without your support, the channel probably wouldn't exist. And if you can engage in the usual YouTube jazz of liking the video, sharing it, subscribing, leaving a comment, always helps, although I am shadow banned. The algorithm hates me. And if I'm still alive, I will check you out next time. Take care. May the gods watch over you. Bye-bye.
That's Stardust. And I agree with everything that he says right there. You know, him
And
Barbarossa
Reverend
both
Barbarossa.
are telling you what I've been telling you, to be true to thine own self and become your own hero. Because nobody's coming to save you because they're too busy trying to save themselves. Nobody's coming to my rescue, gentlemen. I have to do it. I have to put on the cape and the MGTOW cape and be my own hero every fucking day. As do you.
But in the wake of this realization, okay, so a follow-up question and intellectual from an intellectual standpoint is, could there be some sort of resonance within men in general regarding their own loneliness and how much they need each other, like all of us? And there are three men sitting over here, and I would regard every man in the chat as well. Don't we need each other? So could we possibly reach to a, you know, uh, could we possibly get through this Rubicon? And this is what I asked Mr. Anil Murthy as well when he was being interviewed by Good Mother, that could there possibly be a global brotherhood regardless of the religiosity, the cultural differences, and the civilizational differences, and even the differences and distinguish and the differentiation regarding languages and everything? Could there be some sort of a global brotherhood bond that could be built between men? And he said yes. He said yes.
Yeah.
That was,
Okay.
I think, the 14th question or something.
Let me check
Richmond,
on.
north of Richmond.
He's at
I
47
went to
million views. I've been
From
watching.
people in Turkey are watching him.
Oh
People
yeah,
in Turkey. People in India. Watch the comment section. There are comments of other people as well, including Reverend Insanity,
100, almost 160,000 comments.
from every corner in the world.
Oh yeah. I think the song hit men pretty hard, and I think it's helping to bring a lot of those guys together.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
Men have never
I went through the
cried
bouts of loneliness and became a
in a
celibate
long
monk
time.
before I ever came into MGTOW.
Men have never cried in a
You
long
know,
time.
so
Right.
But they cried
So-
because of this song.
I know.
yeah, it's painful. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, going through the bouts of loneliness is something that you have to, you know, it's kind of like the virtues that me and Kush have spoken about. You know, perseverance, fortitude, forbearance. You know, you need to focus on concentrating on and honing those virtues. It's not easy. It's what I say to a lot of young men that, you know, if you're in your 20s, don't try to become a celibate monk. You know, it'll drive you nuts. You know, you can go forward and make your own mistakes, you know, and try to like make it through the gynocentric landscape as best you can. Because I know young men are going to apply themselves to it. They're going to see a pretty girl and they're going to, you know, start thinking with a little head. You know, you can't stop them. You can't save them. You know, but you know all we can do for each other is be here as an online support group. You know, and try to help our brothers recover as they come in. This is like my biggest complaint in the manosphere. Like when I see these communities with all their bullshit community guideline rules and putting each other through struggle sessions and having these online wars that don't help men, that don't help anybody, you know, the idea that Hammerhand and Undead Chronic have an issue with me just proves the fact that they're not here to help everybody. They're only here to help their own subscribers, you know, and
Uh,
those who sub to their clout for a clout handle.
Gentlemen,
You know,
just a
no,
second.
no, 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 no.
Just a
We're talking about,
no.
you know, can men work together and help each other? Well, you answer that question for me. You know,
Okay.
show me that great
I
works.
Yes. So I think this is the very same thing which I asked to Mr. Anil Murthy as well. And in the first interview of Good Mother, you would remember, he asked that let us just say I'm holding a protest. What is the possibility or probability of an inside conflict within my team before the event,
Right.
during the
Yeah.
event, and after the event is over?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so men are like arrows. They are going to butt heads against each other. That is a
Yes.
given.
No, it's just
You
Yeah.
not
know,
that. No, no. I've been here longer than most of everybody here. You
yeah,
know,
but
and the people that I looked up to, you know, stabbed me in the back, you know, and used me as a patsy, and had me to carry the burden of their
look,
crime of their and their guilt for years. And
yes,
this is the thing. This is my point. There's not one MGTOW channel on the internet that ever helped me, you know, overcome all of this. No, I had to do it on my own.
brother,
You
you
know,
did not
for
ask for
years
any
I'm
donations.
apologizing for other people's transgressions, thinking that
Y-
they made me think and believe that that I was the cause of it, that it was all my fault. You know, this is
Yes,
how you know, they've always unloaded their burdens on me, you know, and as soon as I came in this community, as soon as I came back and we started this little trek with this new direction thing, you know, I took on the burden of tailor-made man when nobody else would,
yes.
you know.
But the thing is, if I might say something with your
I'm the community
permission,
whipping boy.
look, the thing is, you have helped men in reality instead of just accomplishing some YouTube subscribers base or something. I know you from 9 years back, and it all was being made possible by a reverend lady who is sitting over there, whom I don't consider a lady. He is a chap, according to me. And you know
Yeah.
you know because we have a certain sense of semblance in some sort of evolutionary biology traits which might have gone wrong for your sake. what i'm trying to say what I'm trying to say is this.
It's the gender
And
dysphoria,
yeah, it could be. You are a man in a woman's body.
right? Heard that before.
I've always tried to set
Wait,
the positive example, and it's a thankless
Okay.
job.
Yes, Mr.
wait,
Modi is here.
mother's transgender. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that,
So mother's a mother and a dad.
right?
Wait,
Yes.
we are so
Wait,
progressive
wait.
over here.
You cannot. Can you believe that Lowe's fired a tranny just
Unbe-
without warning?
uh, unbelievable. That's
Last time
No,
transphobia.
I know it's so transphobia, dude. It took them 3 weeks to fire a fucking black fat ass lesbian who was literally stealing and couldn't walk without sweating, and always called in. But they could just fire me without any warning just because I said black gay dude.
Mother, we could have like 100 rainbows marching
Yeah.
over there, and it'll be on national TV news tomorrow. Don't worry.
Let's do that. Let's boycott. Like, we need to
Yes,
boycott Lowe's. We need to get the word out.
yes. Good evening to
Yeah.
everybody. By the way,
Hi, buddy.
contriver, sir, contriver, bullets for
Woody,
teeth. Good mother.
Woody
So,
Johnson,
Woody, what
tree.
do you think about? Yeah, Mr. Bullets, you were saying something.
Oh no, man, I'm good. I'm sorry to get off my rants, man. I just burnt out.
It's fine. Look, we know you. We are all getting old, and we have,
Yeah.
sometimes, how these telephones and mundanes,
Well,
like anger
mother
of.
said no fighting.
Yeah.
Mother said no fighting, especially around her.
Yeah, I don't
So
Oh,
like
oh
it.
yes, yes, yes.
I don't like it.
We are not
she's like,
fighting. This is the
you guys fight, like somewhere else. She was like, no fighting over here.
yes. This is the Continental. Just like if anyone has seen the John Wick films, this is the
Yes, yes.
Continental. No, gentlemen, no business shall be conducted on the Continental grounds. So
Base.
that is the thing. So this is the
Mhm.
Continental grounds which shall never be deconsecrated. So
Mhm.
Yeah, the men
what do you
sorting each other out belongs elsewhere. This is where
okay?
men can come together and talk.
Yes, this is a continental grounds. Okay, so
Okay.
bullets. I wanted your review of the email which I
We can't hear you,
Maher's review
Contriver. You
and
got cut off. You got cut off
okay,
for like
Say
5 seconds
again.
over there.
You want to
okay,
hear my
so
take on your email?
yes,
Well,
yeah,
hold on a second. Let me find it
yes,
here. Okay, I got it. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna have to like do a video on it if you want me to review it like that.
I mean you
Um,
could,
because
you
you're
could
asking me to go forward for it. Generally,
the gist of
coming
it.
out with your viewpoints to get it out there and getting, and Stardust, putting his take on it, I think is, I don't know what I could add to it.
Well, you could say that this has been written by your friend whom you know from 9 years ago.
Chris Williams?
No, me. I mean, the email was
No,
written by me.
I'm lost in. You have to excuse me. I'm lost in translation. Say
Oh,
again.
Okay, so the email was written by whom? Myself, right?
hmm.
Mm-hmm.
From my email ID, from Proton Mail. Okay, so I messaged to Chris Williamson, and I brought the sledgehammer on him, on the anvil, regarding how dare you castigate MGTOW philosophy in general, because he did. And I would show you the video as well because it is there mentioned in my email enclosed with it. He said that. So I said, we have been watching you for 6 years, and this is how you repay us. This is how you repay us, by
I'm not
building
even
your audience
familiar.
base and
To be honest with you, Trevor, I'm not familiar with Chris Williamson.
okay. He is
I
a
would have to
British
see the
chap.
video, and I probably seen him in passing, but there's so many Manosphere channels out there, and so
No,
many
he's not a
different groups and
manosphere.
communities that have shattered and splintered off in their own thing. But I'm not familiar with him.
He's uh, uh, he's a cultist, just like everybody else, and he has
He's a
even
channel
written.
that I've been following for many, many, many years, and I do really
Yeah.
like his channel because he has on a lot of really awesome guests, and they have really good conversations. So,
Yes,
He,
Adam Lane Smith was also there.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's like
oh, I
it's like
seldom
a
don't
white guy, I think.
interact with people that don't interact with me directly.
Okay.
People that you know don't interact with me directly. They're shilling their own message.
Yes.
It's kind of like I mean, I like Terrence Pop, but I don't worship Terrence Pop. I don't hold anybody up. In the manosphere as a pillar of a community. Been there, done that. Bought the T-shirt, saw the concert.
Yes, it is not about that, but I was saying that regarding my English vocabulary, could you give me a rating or something out of 5 or 10? as to whether my English was up to the point where I could argue with a British chap with the very same Western graces and English graces, if I might add. Could you,
You,
sir?
you should have offered him fish and
Well,
chips.
oh, well, dude, you I mean you obviously you're very one of the most well-spoken people that
Yeah,
I've
you speak
encountered.
better
I
English
mean,
than regular Americans.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean you're very articulate
Mm.
and when it comes to your skills and sophistry in the command of the English language and stuff. So I mean I give you a 10 out of 10. You know,
Oh,
it's like
oh,
even
thank
like
you.
when we converse back and forth. I mean, I understand you, especially like on the streams that we had when we are mentoring each other. You know, I mean it. You're very direct, in your with your communication skills. So I don't have any negatives to say. If I did, I would have brought them up to you before. You know,
Okay.
the issue that I've cited to you before. We've talked about this backstage. You can be a little bit long-winded to the point you can lose your audience. Other than that, that's my only critique, and we've already discussed that before already. And you've taken that constructive criticism and improved, you know, over time. And that's pretty much my assessment on your take, you know, of things. You asked for my critique as you're asking my critique as an audience member.
As an English speaker,
Yes.
I have one. I have one. I give you a 9.999999. Repeated only because you said violate instead of rape.
then it would had then it would not had I pondered over it.
Yeah.
I found out that if I would had written the word rape,
Mm-hmm.
then it would had lost its essence of the genuine grievance
No,
of
no,
a
no,
man.
no, 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 because these laws are literally raping men to the point financially, fucking mentally, spiritually, and then the ones that get thrown in jail. I mean, women want to talk about, rape of women. Like men get raped in our country more than women because they literally go to jails and then go get raped.
Yes,
Like
and not only in jail, women also rape men. I mean, uh, I
I'm
met
just
an
saying that's my only critique. I
yes.
I would have
Yeah,
used rape,
that's correct.
Okay,
That's
okay.
correct.
but I'm
Just a
way more
second.
extreme.
Yes, yes. I would had written that, and it would had become some sort of a smear campaign and not coming out as in good faith, genuine criticism or genuine grievance of a man. And that is what the response I wanted to elicit from the other side, which
Mm.
was that within 5 hours, the bastard dropped another video about men's rights with George the Tin Man, which even Stardust also mentioned because I mentioned Stardust's channel in the email as well. So,
Well, if
so
it's
Chris
within,
Williamson, yeah.
but if it's within 5 hours, I mean, he probably had that conversation before he did. Like, I don't think he had that conversation with that dude, like because of the email. It's probably because the way he works, he sets up all these things and then he takes the time to like edit it and
Well,
then he'll
if you
release
would,
Is
them
it any
later.
surprise this Chris Williams guy, wants to go back to the plantation? Honestly, and
19
if
year
anybody
olds,
wants to follow him, follow the dude. You know, choose
no,
thy
he's a
mentor
good
wisely.
motivational speaker. I would say that. I would concur that.
Yeah.
But he, when I watched the video of the man who I was following for some sort of time, and you build some sort of proximity with the people you subscribe to, uh, it felt as if I got hurt because the mentioning of castigating MGTOW for the
Yeah.
fault that men are walking away from the plantation, the 19-year-olds that he was so concerned about. And in that video, I'll show you the video as well. It was a short video.
Did it ever
And
occur to you
in the
that maybe
video,
that was his plan to begin with, to come in the manosphere and dupe everybody into following his bullshit?
oh, absolutely, absolutely, that could
You
had
know?
been the plan, but
Well,
he was
All
not
right.
from the
Hey,
manosphere to begin with.
gentlemen, if you just excuse me, I think this is the part where I fuck off and let you guys do your guys' stuff.
all right. Good night,
Why
mother.
you are going?
If you don't mind.
Oh, come on. Okay, fine.
Chris's
I would.
channel, I think he's doing awesome stuff.
Yes, and
This
he's
is
not a
man
part of
sorting.
manosphere.
I know he's not, and and I just wanted to share that, Zuby.
But mother, it's
Hey, if he wants
transphobic
to
if you
lead
leave
men
now.
like a Pied Piper back on the gynocentric plantation, go for it. And everybody that wants to go with him, go. Please, please go. Show us MGTOW how it's done. We'll just sit here, eat popcorn, and watch you all.
But
Okay,
mother,
so
you can't leave because it will be transphobic. So you have to do another 10-hour stream.
I can't. I really can't.
I know.
I have hair to do in the morning. I didn't plan on being on here. I just saw that and I wanted to show that first video to Bullets. But you guys stay as
Yeah,
long
I've
as
been
you
up
like.
since.
I know.
No, I've been up
Definitely.
since like
okay,
5 or 6 o'clock this morning, so I can't stay.
No,
so
bullets, you gotta
I've been up for
stay.
almost 24 hours. Shit.
Wow.
okay, okay, just a second. I posted the link of the video, good mother, if you could show that,
I'm
and
gonna
we shall
go.
end the.
I'm gonna go. You show it, Contriver. You have controls. I'm gonna piss off. Bullets. It was good. It was good streaming with you.
All
Okay,
right,
okay,
Thanks
G1,
fine.
for.
piss off. Good night.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Good
Smile
piss
and
night.
off
wave.
Woody.
Smile and
It's
wave.
good. Bye, guys.
Mr. D
Good
Dog,
night.
I
Mr.
ain't
D
gonna
Dog
be
is
on
here.
for all night either, guys. So
I know.
Yeah,
I'll hang on for a few, but I
Okay.
need to get
yeah,
some sleep.
All right.
yeah.
I got some questions. Have a good night, mother.
All right.
Mandy
Good night,
made me
ma.
stay up.
I
Call her
know.
fat.
I drug Bullets into this, and now I'm peacing out.
Ha ha. Now bullets gotta stay now.
There is the bait and switch. I told you it would be torture. So, all right, Bullets. Good to see you, Contriver,
Yes.
Good to see
Woody.
you. All
Good
right.
night.
Later.
Thanks for everything, ma. Bye.
Yeah, no problem.
Good
D
night.
Dog.
Take
Good to
care.
see you.
All right. So now I have the control. I have the
All right.
power.
All right. Contriver, you get a sixth
Okay.
for your third world internet, and I don't know why you speak, with higher vocabulary. You speak better English than American, so I'm jealous, and I give you a six on your essay to William, modern day William Shakespeare, or Chris Williamson. Yeah, yeah. There you go. By the way,
Yeah.
I don't
do you
even
get my
watch
email?
Chris Williamson.
I want to make sure if I got the correct email of yours.
This is my email. What is it? Uh, just a second. Control plus. This is unwounded contriver @ protonmail.com. So this is
215.
my email.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
All
I
right. I was
would
sending an
end
email
it
to somebody
within.
else anyway.
Come on, StreamYard Bullets. It'd be
Um,
fun.
uh, okay, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I can hear you, dude.
Okay, okay, okay. So this is my email. The U and C are actually in capital letters of
Mhm.
unwanted contriver. It is not unwanted as everyone calls it. It is unwanted. And yes, damn, it is a word.
Okay.
So, yes,
Okay.
unwanted means unorthodox. And contriver, hold on, let me show you the Oxford Dictionary, which I fawn over every once in a while. So,
Mhm.
unwanted, this is a word, and it says not usual or expected. And
Okay.
contriver means contriver, contrive, to contrive, to manage to do something despite difficulties, to succeed in making something happen
I'll be right
despite
back.
difficulties. Okay, so
Okay.
when, yeah, so This is the video. I would be showing you the video itself, and this is the shorts video. Control V. And this is from, hold on, not here, not here. It should be here. Okay. Uh, where is it? Where is it? Please shook it up to 100.
If you're 45 and have tried to make relationships with women work and failed, I can understand you saying that you're going to make time.
The video just stopped. I don't know if it's just me or
19 and you've had your
is it
heart
the
broken
board
for the
game.
first time. How the f
Okay, it's back on.
are you saying you're going your own way? Like, what is
Okay. Have I stopped this bus?
I think you're borging too now.
tried
Contriver.
relationships work and fail? I can understand you saying that you're going MGTOW and that you're casting off relationships because you've been hurt too
Okay,
many
now it's
times. If
good.
you're 19 and you've had your heart broken for the first time, how the f are you saying you're going your own way? Like, what is that? That you're just giving up. Everybody's got challenges. Everybody's got things that they're struggling with. Man up. The world is as easy and convenient as it's ever going to be, and you're complaining about the fact that, oh, the existential weight of living. Everybody's got that. Everybody has to face this stuff.
I don't think there's enough people saying man up.
Yeah. And I don't mean ignore your emotions. I mean, integrate your emotions. Talk about them. Manning up also includes being mature about your emotions. It means crying in front of your friends and being vulnerable and open. This isn't like some ancient archetype of patriarchal toxic masculinity. This is me saying transcend and include your masculinity. Transcend and include the challenges that you've been through. If you're 45 and have tried to make relationships with women work and failed, I can understand you saying that you're going MGTOW and that you're casting off relationships because you've been hurt too many times. If you're 19 and you've had your heart broken for the first time, how the f are you saying you're going your own way? Like, what is that? That you're just giving up. Everybody's got challenges. Everybody's got things that they're struggling with. Man up. The world is as easy and convenient as it's ever going to.
And gentlemen, this is the reason I wrote the email
No,
to
it's
this
good.
ungrateful gentleman.
Right. It's I don't know
Why he
why hard how hard it is to understand what the actual situation is, despite having, testimonies after testimonies of guys going through this. They're moving back to their car or their parents' house because everything is taken away from them. During Corona, that if they were getting even for, it comes out of your check already, right? The alimony or the child support, against your will. You're forced to. It comes out of your paycheck just as soon as before it hits your account. Not only that, but in the stimulus check, when people were didn't have an income to come in, if you were supposed to, one guy was supposed to get 1,000, and I think all he got was 400 out of your stimulus check. And I really hope that guys like this, they go through this type of hell to really comprehend, what actually this is, instead of men up. Don't men hear that shit from everywhere all the time in the world? I tell this to my brother, and the reason is because in a way he does have to. He has to carry the weight of the world on his shoulder. He has to have the responsibility and the accountability. But I don't know why hard it is for people like this to understand what's actually going
no
on.
people like these are deliberately dragging other men into their own misery as well. That is
Hmm.
what every married man says to a bachelor. That are you not married? Why are you not married?
Right.
Are you gay? The
Hmm.
shaming tactic
I've met
of
married men
shaming
that
melt
tell me, dude,
into
don't do it. Don't do
submission.
it. Don't do it, dude.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And in a
When I
way, a
was working
lot of
in the
the.
bank, yeah,
Oh, go ahead,
yeah,
Contraver. I'll
when
go
I
after you.
was work, yeah. So when I used to work in the private sector and the banking industry, as everybody knows, I was told time and again, are you going to spend all your life by yourself? They didn't know that I had a very recent separation. So I
Right.
have already done all the honey boo boo stuff which they were talking about. And after a while, uh, sometimes if you think they might be genuinely concerned, especially men, but otherwise when you are in a bad mood or something, it becomes a little bit more infuriating. And they are adamant on you to be within their own misery. It is just like an AIDS virus patient, HIV positive, who is thinking that why so many people are HIV negative, why they are not also AIDS positive. They should also get AIDS, they should also get corona. Why should they be left out? Why should everyone be indulging in your own misery of singing all those Frankie Valli songs like "You're just too good to be true, can't take my
My
eyes off
eyes off
you,
of you.
you'd be like heaven to touch, I wanna hold you so much." That thought is an OnlyFans model, and you
What the
want a
hell
man
is that?
to sing, and you want a 19-year-old chap, you want
Get
that
you ever
lad
could
Yeah.
sing,
to sing
everybody.
all these.
No, you got a
So
voice, dude.
I oh, thank you. Now I'm really shy about it, but it infuriates me that these people who are 40 plus or 35 plus themselves, who are already established, who are already have good wives, and they don't cheat on them, they don't
What
have
you know what
abortions behind their back,
you know what I have I sometimes have these discussions, and of jokingly, even though sarcastically, but in my opinion, a joke is only funny, it's only sarcastic if it's half true. So I sometimes jokingly do have these arguments slash jokes, at work. And I tell them, hey, if I have to pop the champagne, even though I have a girlfriend right now, but if I have to ever pop the champagne, I all I have to do is once a week. That's it. Get the urge out, get the poison out. And in a way, I see these guys that are held to that have so much more pressure on them because they have to continuously work. They have to do whatever to survive, especially in this inflated economy. And I tell them that I think you're very envious of my lifestyle because all my responsibility, I stay with my family, right? Me and my father, we contribute to the home that we have. We try to pay off the mortgage already. I have a few lands, and I don't have to worry about a nagging wife or the kids that I made with her, that they're going to be taken. They could be taken away anytime, that she could move to her parents, and fuck all, if she wanted to. So I tell them that I think you guys are really envious of me because I do whatever the fuck I want. Literally, I can literally quit this job if I wanted tomorrow, and I can tell everybody to fuck off. I mean, you can't. You are forced to do this because you have to provide for a whole family. And so it's a total. So that's what I tell them, that I think it's the envy that you guys have, and I think you guys are a bit jealous of me instead of the other way around.
No, my thing is why these so-called influencers are so rattled, are so, shivering in their boots, shivering in their pants about the society and civilization, getting pulverized and pummeled. Why they are
It's the
so concerned
gynocentrism.
about the civilization? No,
It's the
I understand,
gynocentrism.
but I, brother, I understand that. What I'm trying to say is, all this while, you people never actually raised your own bloody voice for in support of a man and his genuine grievances. And now, when you say man up to a man who is already hurting from inside, It is just like rubbing salt on your wounds, adding insult to the injury. That
So,
a 19-year
Well, what
old
you're dealing
whose
with,
girlfriend
Contrevor, is a lack of empathy there when you're talking about somebody like
exactly.
Chris. Chris has already been through his process, and he expects that everybody else that watches his content has also worked through his process with him. That doesn't work that way. Everybody goes through their own
Exactly.
individual stuff. You go through your own red pill rage. You go through your own trials through life. You have to deal with your own depression, your own alcoholism, and you have to overcome it. And some of you won't make it. I'm sorry to break it to you, but some of you aren't going to make it. You're not going to kick the habit of alcoholism or whatever drugs you're on. They will consume you. They will destroy you. That's your fate and that's your lot in life because you choose it. You make the choice. And that's the problem. The problem is choice. And it's your problem. It's something you're going to have to work through on your own. I can't help you until you help yourself.
another thing I would say is that this camaraderie that we, let's say, we have amongst in the MGTOWs or the manosphere, that they sympathize and they have a genuine care, for the other brothers. I consider everybody in a way a brother too. Whether if it's from a different pill sphere, whether it is even to an extent to some normies that when I do see them suffer, I know it's hard for them to comprehend, what to do because that's the social norms that were put on them, the responsibilities that they have to be married. They don't look at anything else, don't look at the evidence, don't look out for your protection, don't look out for the best interest of yourself. Be a sacrificial lamb, for your wife and your family, and the gynocentrism that we exist in. Because in my everyday life I see this, that guys, it's a norm that they don't really have that brotherhood. It's I would say credit to the manosphere, that I do now understand this deeply. And then and in a way there's another mental dimension that opens in your head, that shows you, that how things are, what others are actually going through. Because in a way, unless you are aware of this knowledge, you don't look at another man, other friend, has with empathy, with care. You just look at him as, hey, it's whatever. It's a I mean, it's kind of like that. So I do see the different type of I guess mentality guys go through in a daily life, compared to, to the manosphere or the MGTOWs themselves, in a way.
So, like, I understand that a lot of people that come to my channel, I mean, there's, you know, as much as I try to have, empathy for them, I can't kowtow to them. I have my own lifestyle philosophy as it pertains to me. And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of the people that I've spoken with, and all of you have seen it, you know, want to inject their own politics, their own ideology, into it. And if my MGTOW philosophy lifestyle collides with that, they're turned off by it. They reject it. And it's not that I don't have empathy for those dudes, but my reaction to them is their lack of empathy for others and what others go through. In other words, you know, don't judge anybody. Don't judge anybody in this community until you walked a mile in their shoes. Because you damn sure wouldn't want to walk a mile in mine, especially with what I'm going through right now. You know, none of you would want to have to, bear the burdens that I'm burdened with right now. You know, that lack of empathy, that lack of thought for your fellow brother, I think, is lacking in pretty much every community that I've encountered, in and around the manosphere. There's and that's the reason why, not a lot of people really visit my channel that much. I think they really just don't understand. They just don't get it, because they're too easily distracted with the flame and female nature content laser pointer, so to speak. and that's my point of view. That's what I'm seeing, with everybody, holding these pillars of MGTOW, and hanging off there every word. And to me, that's just a laser pointer you're so focused on that laser pointer, you can't focus on anything else. That's why you're pretty much in the doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result in this community. That's what I see. All these people that are habitually coming to these channels every night, and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. You're not what have you accomplished since you've been here? Have you benefited at all from the positive manosphere stuff that you've been consuming? And for the longest time, for years now, I've been asking for positive examples, and they're few and far between. And this is my message to everybody that I encounter. I understand that you come here for entertainment purposes. I understand that, but also understand this: that what you think is entertainment could be exacerbating your depression, your alcoholism, your drug addiction, your anger, your rage. It could destroy you. Damn near destroyed me. It put me in a freaking red pill rage. Put me in a depression to the point I was contemplating suicide again. Self-loathing. That's where it put me. It did it. The people that I was associating with misdirected me, and I focused my rage to the point to where it wasn't benefiting me at all. It was benefiting them, but they didn't give a shit about me. That I wasn't even a second thought. So this is why you need to be careful with what you're consuming. Especially as powerful as a dopamine hit as being on a panel or having a clout hammer can be. These are things you don't think about. And this is the only thing, that I'm just trying to remind you all.
Well, Bullets, can I give you some criticism?
Sure.
Okay, so and it is again, hope you do understand that this is coming from a good place, I do think there is a bit of isolation with you. Last time I checked, your comments were off, right? And another thing is that I think if you are coming from a helpful, courtesy. You're providing that courtesy to others. You're pushing a good message. I understand that, right? But you do have to get out. You'd have to jump onto other communities and have the small debates or interact. If you have the time. I know everybody's busy. Not everybody can be a professional YouTuber or have that time capacity on their hand. So I understand. I mean, I gotta return some videotapes. So it's not all the time that I could jump on, but I do like to interact with all sorts of different spheres. And I would prefer, because I think you guys would be great at debating or having discussions on other channels, but I can only, I guess, ask for that. In the end, you guys have to, in a way, do that extra step or have that time on your hand. So I would like to see, for you to be even if it's negative comments, face them and have an interaction with the community, and also jump onto other communities, any interesting places that you find. It could be, doesn't have to be Manosphere, it could be anywhere else. And have debates, have talks with other people whenever you see issues such as this kind of pull up. That's what I would say, that I think you should do more of that.
Well, I've had a personal incident happen over the past month that just took me away. A family member was hospitalized.
I'm
So
sorry about that.
when it comes to family, or doing interviews on YouTube, my family comes first. I have that responsibility. I
Yeah, of
can't
course.
walk away from it.
Yeah.
But don't think that I regret not reaching out to you or Mohammed or Angler Senior.
Oh, no,
Um,
it's not even
I
that. I
I
understand.
wanted
Like,
to.
yeah. Yeah. No, you're good.
let,
I,
let,
I understand everybody's busy, so I don't even expect
yeah.
like emails
Mhm.
quickly from them. I'm talking that you should like definitely have debates. Go outside, any place that interests you, on YouTube. Just kind of hop on and even post it on your channel. I would listen to it.
Right.
Same thing with Contriver.
I've
Even with Good Mother, I would say you guys should, get out of, like, I guess, go to other places more in a way.
Yeah, I have before. It's been a while. I think. Well, you have to understand. Since we started this, we've gotten a lot of hostile reactions from a lot of people. From the calling out of Contriver's struggle session, to my back and forth with Angler, to what other drama have we had? The trans person that was on mine and Kush's
Yeah.
channel, my disagreements with other people like Shinobi, Frost, and others, and their interference with what we're trying to do here, to try to do something positive. They've done everything that they could destroy it, and distract us from what we were doing, to the point to where it got so bad we had to remove everybody's moderation hammers, and I closed off my chat. I don't know if Kush has done the same. I know that he pretty much abides, runs the same type of class rules that I do, and I had to do that not just for my defense. I mean, hey, I can handle my own, but I'm not going to allow people to use my channel to attack other men in the manosphere. It's not going to happen on my channel.
Well, well, that's the thing. In a way that these small beefs, I understand. It was a back and forth, but this is, if you do think about it, this is very irrelevant. If think of it like this, that if it was actual hard times on us, would these difference, would even matter? We would have a way bigger problem on our hands, and we would see maybe more of a closure or maybe more of a division. Because these issues, in my opinion, are minuscule. It's small, channel differences. Hey, you agree with this, I don't agree with that. I would say don't even let that mentally affect you. I would say that to everybody else
I
too.
don't. I don't.
Don't let it affect you
Because
at all. Keep your channel open.
the tenet to do no harm to thy brother is very clear.
Hmm. But even the perceived harm, because there is a physical harm somebody could do to you, and then there is a verbal harm, right? If there's a,
And
let's
the
say, if
mental
there's a
harm.
verbal beef, mental harm too, but
Hmm.
things like that. I mean, there's a world out there that everything is a trap already, unless you have a good guidance. Let's say the first guidance in your life is your father, right? If people don't have that to begin with, then you can't even fix that problem, bullets. Somebody has to discover and maybe come to you to find answers. And I have a father in life, and a lot of the concepts I did understand already, but obviously I gained a lot more knowledge from different spaces. For me, it's like I even if I went through mental gymnastics with other people. I had debates, on discords or on YouTube. I kind of went through all that. But having a solid and a stronger mental fortitude only comes from suffering and going through the obstacles. You can't achieve that, in a soft environment. Wouldn't you agree?
Never have I ever participated in a struggle session.
Well, I'm not talking about that struggle such. I'm talking about like debates, and as you would say,
Hmm.
emotional
Debates are
damage
one thing.
or
What
verbal.
I've seen other people do to Contriver and do to me, I know what those things are, and they're meant to belittle and berate and control and demean people that come here. It's meant to ostracize them. And it's been utilized as a weapon, And my main thing is this: it needs to stop. It needs to stop
It
because
won't stop.
it's not helping men.
Yes,
How,
I agree that, but it's not going to stop. Bullets.
show me, bring forth thy positive result out of a struggle
Okay.
session.
Yes, there are none. There are none. If I could elucidate on this very point, the journey, the YouTube journey of perhaps Mr. Bullets and myself from the last 2 years has been a roller coaster ride. And I would say this in conclusion, because we can't keep up Mr. Bullets as well, because it is late at night and he has
Mhm.
also to sleep and he has chores to do in the morning.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, you got me for about 20 more minutes and I got to crash.
yes, that is why I'm saying.
No problem. I'll bounce too. Yeah, we got 20
No,
minutes,
no,
so
no, no, no,
yeah.
no, 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 no. It is not that. It is not that.
No, no. Yeah, I understand,
It is
contriver.
not
Yeah.
that. Uh,
My
yeah.
approach
So,
to
could
the
people
red
see
pills
my
approach of the struggle session,
avatar right
I
now?
have the opposite approach of positive
I could see
mentorship.
Avatar. Well, contriver. I think you're maybe like a second or two
Yeah.
behind, maybe.
I think that's where we collide, you know.
Oh,
I mean, what
yes.
we have here are warring factions of
This goddamned
ideologies,
internet.
you
Yeah.
know, an ideology
Yeah.
clashing with a lifestyle philosophy.
Okay. uh, If I could, if I'm audible right now, am I, Mr. Bullets,
Yes.
Mr. Woody?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So, could people see? I have found the answer for all of my questions about how a man could indulge in his own sustenance, in his own self survival, and his and accomplishing something in his life, and that is through a novel written ironically by a Chinese gentleman, which has been banned by the Chinese Communist Party because it goes against their notion of indentured servitude, is called Reverend Insanity, Fang Yuan, and that is the avatar that I have uploaded. Reverend Insanity. If people can't read that, I would be, posting the link in the private chat as well as public chat as well. Control C, and this is Control V. Read from here, starting from the first chapter. It is in English. As an English speaking audience, you people shall be able to understand what I'm trying to say. And apart from that, this is a very, very, welcome thing that I have accomplished, because earlier people who are into reading novels and fantasies or whatever, of course this is a fantasy novel about chakras and all that, supernatural and superficial fighting of hai ha and kung fu, but it tells you how a man cultivates his own potential. It tells you a man, and it is only and only through self love. There is no good or bad in this world for a man, and he has to be a tyrant, because if he doesn't becomes like that, and he doesn't need an army of followers or something like that,
Hey,
just
contriver,
for
that
standing his
link you
own
just
ground.
sent me, my set my Norton off.
Okay, not an internet
Malicious
security.
site, malicious domain. Request
Uh,
22. Nah, you know, if you want to like email it to me.
Oh, surely I would give you from uh,
Yeah, as soon as I turned my ad
novel.
blocker off, it just fucking lit up my
Oh, no,
screen.
no, no, no. I'm on Brave browser myself, so I wouldn't want that. A novel, read free, and the fact of the matter is, this novel was towards its completion, but could not get completed because the Chinese Communist Party in China actually banned it. It banned it. Really. So you could understand the gravity of the situation regarding this novel. They also have a comics regarding that. I'm giving another uh, uh, in the private chat as well as the public. Well, this is it. Please, gentlemen, go through and look at it. It is supernatural, but how a man progresses forward, how a man indulges in self betterment. And this is something which I think most people should look into like this. And that is how people should be able to, after reading that. And you know what? The better part is the author of the novel itself read a French guy and his novel called The Little Prince, which tells you about the intricacies of life from a French boy's perspective. So he read a lot of things and wrote this, inculcated and instilled everything which he knew. And perhaps he might have been, uh, threatened, but the novel is around 85%, 95% complete. If people could read that, it would be much more useful as to how to develop yourself. So read that book, just like Machiavelli's The Prince, just like Sun Tzu's The Art of War, just like the Book of Five Rings from Miyamoto Musashi, just like you read Chanakya's Arthashastra. He was a polyglot. Uh, if you would read this, I'm not saying about Tao Te Ching or Tao Te Ching or Taoism or things like that. Of course, there would be an element of that within the Chinese novel. But if you would read this very novel, Reverend Insanity, you would be able to unlock your own latent potential regarding things about your own self love and why we can't love ourselves. So, I would like you to please uh, read that. Mr. Bullets has sent me something. Uh, so, Mr. Bullets, with the new uh, link, is it creating some sort of problems?
Yeah,
If
it's
it is
trying to
not,
like,
then
it's I don't know, it just came across as a malicious site and it set my Norton off. I had
oh
no
no
problem.
no, the second link I gave you, the second link.
Okay, I found it on YouTube. Nice. I'm gonna add that.
Yes, so audiobook in the sense of audiobook, also it shall be applicable, but you should read that. At first, it would be like, I mean, we are wasting goddamn time while reading a novel of all places, while we should be reading our academic books or something. But you would
Well,
develop
you
a
recommend it,
love
so I'm
for
definitely going
reading,
to.
which I have done.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to listen
No,
to it because
because it
I'm
is
having to run a
the
scan right now. Shit. What the hell?
well,
I don't
there's
know. It
okay.
it's
something
it's
So,
like
available
Mr.
on
Bullard,
YouTube.
yeah, yes, but it would be brief. It is not in its uh, the elucidation of what you would receive within the novel would be something else than what you would get in some sort of an audiobook stance, because they might try to tweak the language or tweak the tone of the language, while in the novel it is just words. You could make the gist of it yourself. So that is why I'm emphasizing on novel. However, it is on your discretion. I leave it to your wisdom. Even if you read it in an audiobook, it would, you know shake you up like nothing
do
before.
they have an English version?
Sir, this is from the English version. The second
Okay.
link that I
I
have given you.
bookmarked it. I'll have to look at it later.
Okay, so please look at it. This concept, Mr. A. Free Bird is saying, the concept of self love is foreign to me. Love is between two people. I think love should be for yourself as well, because you are part of the cosmos and the cosmos is within you. That would be the case as told by Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev and other people. So please look into it. Um, but this novel generates the sort of dark triad traits of psychology which everyone enunciates, and it has developed within myself as well, because a man might be physically stronger but psychologically he is not. He has to go through trials and tribulations and have some sort of breakthroughs in unlocking his
Oh,
own
so it's a
potential.
story about self
I'm
love. Okay.
okay, and the person actually, when he is not afraid of death, because he says, what I have done in my life, I have done that without any remorse. So why should I, when death comes next to him, actually he reincarnates. But when death comes to him, he commits a suicide and dies, taking everybody else out with him like a time bomb.
A
So
Freebird obviously
he
hasn't seen my video on self love.
Yes, so self love is the key to living your best life within all the madness that is around you. So I,
You
as
can't.
I
How can
always
you
say,
love somebody else if you don't love your first learned how to love yourself and do for yourself?
yes,
Appreciate
exactly.
yourself. Who is number one in your life? You. You are number
Yes,
one. Everything else is secondary. Period.
it is interesting you bring that up, because Mr. Anil Murthy, when he was last appeared on that interview with Good Mother, which I had a hand in arranging, he said we try to counsel people by saying that I come first, my parents come second, my family comes third, and everybody else, my religiosity, my culture, my civilization, everything else comes next. I come first. I come first in terms of not a pejorative term or a double meaning term, but it is about me and my priorities coming first. And that was the essence of MGTOW, isn't it? Declaring your own self sovereignty to be of prime importance.
In a world that where other people depend on you, it is imperative that you learn how to take care of yourself first and put your own needs first before others.
Exactly. That is how you would be able to take care of others fully well, because you are, well versed and you are fit and fine and healthy and all things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let us start trudging on that very same journey of self actualization. Journey of a million miles actually start with a single step. So, and miles to go
There,
before I sleep.
you can go to Wikipedia and there's just type in love, love wiki, and Wikipedia will come up and it'll talk about love, and there are different types of love. Like you have eros and stuff, self love, and then there's couple love and marriage loves and love of children, love of food, and blah 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 blah, and the list goes on and on. There are different types of love. What we speak about specifically here with positive mentorship is one of the first steps that you must learn how to do first is to develop self-love for yourself, self-appreciation for yourself. These negative thoughts that are in your head that you can't make it in life, or you're not good looking enough, or this voice in your head that propels this self-loathing attitude, you know and just beats you down and drives you into other negative aspects, say like alcoholism or drugs or whatever, that may whatever burden that you're carrying. It's self-love can help you overcome that. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. You just don't look in the mirror and kiss yourself, and you're cured. It doesn't work that way. You need to prove to yourself, that you love yourself. And how do you do that? Well, you do something for yourself. Do something positive for yourself. Do something selfish for
Yes.
yourself. I'm not saying not, be a selfish asshole about it, but treat yourself. Do something for yourself. If there's something that you want, like say like I needed a new DC brick for this pedal board I'm building. I got it. Why? Why did I get it? Because I love myself. I got something for myself first. Everything else after that comes secondary. Everybody else gets their shit after I get what I need. Period. You know, it's kind of like in nature. Um, uh, the leader of the pack, gets first dibs on the kill. You know, and everybody else stands around until the leader's full. Okay, there's a reason for that because the leader's strong and protects the pack and shit. And makes the big kill. Is the dominant alpha of the pack. You need to have that same attitude in your own life and put yourself first. This is like one of the first steps that you in your process that you need to go through. It don't expect it to happen overnight. It's something that you develop. You know, alphas aren't born. They're mentored into who they become. They're mentored through positive mentorship. That they're mentored by other males in their groups. Females the same way. Females are mentored into their groups and so forth. Yes, it is all choice. You have to make that choice. I can't make that choice for you. You have to make that choice to make that change for yourself and say to yourself, you know what? You know, that dude Bullets is right. I'm gonna do something for myself today. Go out and do it. Do it. Take that first step. And with that, gentlemen, I'm gonna bow out. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here in Texas, and I am
Oh yes. Oh
exhausted. I've
yes.
been
We
up
have
for
to.
like 22
We
hours
have to.
already.
We have to.
But
Yeah.
Woody,
So
Traverse, good talking to you.
I'm
Mandy, thanks for
ending
inviting
the
me up.
broadcast. Thank you for all the ladies and uh, yeah,
Are you
and
gonna end it here?
thank you for everyone in the audience, Mr.
Good night,
Woody,
everybody.
Mr. Johnny Midnight, Mr. A. Freebird, JR, my brother, uh, Emmanuel, my brother from another mother, working man, and Terminator T800, Mr. D Dog, uh, who
E-Dog,
else? Mr. Iridium Kush,
YOLO.
Mr. Bullets, Mr. Zale, and Mr. Woody Johnson, myself included. Well, I thank
Stardust, sub to
myself. I'm
Stardust.
so shameless. And yes, and subscribe to Stardusk and Barbarossa and Mr. Bullets for Teeth, Mr. Iridium Kush, who are the new age mentors regarding this. And please read this very novel, Reverend Insanity. It would help you to develop uh, your dark triad traits that would help you realize that selfishness
And
is
CJ.
paramount for your own survival. And if you would be surviving, and CJ, Mr. CJ as well, and if you would be able to survive, you would be able to accomplish something. So, for being selfish, also, you have to have that realization. And for having that realization, you have to go through some trials and tribulations, both physiologically and psychologically. So please, that damn novel. Please. Thank you for everyone joining in. And last but not the least, the lady, our own good mother, who has resurrected a community from the past which was dead. So, I mean, I can't thank her enough. And just just saying good night to everyone. I came out of retirement. I would be going back into the retirement because of workload and everything else. But I wanted to join because good mother was there, and
Yeah,
I
same
would be
here, but
keeping
I'll
an
be
eye
back.
even
Stay
as an
tuned to Iridium
audience.
Kush.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iridium's taking up our slack.
Mr. Iridium Kush, Mr. Bullets for Teeth, these are two gems of the gentlemen who are MGTOW success stories. Please subscribe to them and add their channels in your playlist. Good night, ending broadcast in 3,